What's good, Finn Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here with another one tonight. I'm joined by the homies, Mr. Ballgame, Damian Deese, and we got some other people that'll be coming here and there soon, potentially. Boys, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. Just
All good, man.
yeah, always happy to take a chance to talk about the Dolphins, man. So
Guys, some interesting news tonight.
don't piss me off, reason.
Some interesting news as earlier today, Jason La Confora dropped an article, and this is exactly what the article said. He's talking about coaches potentially being on the hot seat. 11 coaches that were named, in fact, and he says if things go poorly in Miami, and regression in 2020 shouldn't shock anyone. I believe Flores would actually win a power struggle if it comes to that. Whether or not Tua becomes a thing or not will have ramifications for those involved in selecting him. Constantly running out coaches and players who were just selected the previous year and put in critical positions is an unusual way of breeding chemistry and cohesion and creating that other played out C word culture. There are a lot of rumblings around the industry about all not being well in Miami, which has been pretty much the norm for a few decades now, and people are already keeping a close eye down there. Now, here's the thing. Let's start off with this. A lot of people want to just sit there and drag Jason La Confora and kill his credibility and come for him. But I can tell you right now, just speaking from personal experience, Jason La Confora is legit from my understanding. And what I mean by that is, if I take you back to the night before the allegations broke with Deshaun Watson, I was told privately that the Eagles made multiple offers for Deshaun Watson. I had also been told that privately that I was basically onto something in regards to having Jalen Waddle as the perfect fit in my wide receiver one to the Miami Dolphins. What happened then was an article came out from Jason La Confora literally the next day after I was told about the Eagles making offers. And in that article from Jason La Confora, he highlighted that the Eagles had made multiple offers for Deshaun Watson, and in the same breath said that we wanted to trade back up to 6. We wanted to trade back because I believe I hadn't traded back yet by the time the allegations had hit. And it said that we wanted to trade back, but we wanted to stay inside the top 10 because we wanted to take one of the Alabama boys. And lo and behold, who did we draft, right? Now, exactly. Now, in doing some digging and talking with people, apparently I got an echo, so I'm gonna mute you, ball game. I'll unmute everyone when I'm done talking here. In doing some further digging, if you guys remember, a couple weeks back, Jason La Confora put out the article in regards to Flores being pro Herbert. Now, I talked to someone again privately, and I was told that this is, in fact, true. That Brian Flores, prior to the draft, wanted Justin Herbert. Just like it's no secret, it's been stated here before, Dan Marino was also in the pro Herbert camp when you talk about the people in the Dolphins that were there. Okay? Now, this is what I'm being told in regards to Brian Flores in the hot seat. I am by no stretch of the imagination saying he is being on the hot seat, but that power struggle that Jason La Confora talking about, from what I'm being told, is incorrect. The power struggle I'm being told right now that's going on is between Brian Flores and Chris Grier against Stephen Ross. And what this all stems from what I'm being told, is the quarterback situation. Stephen Ross is adamant that they stick with Tua Tagovailoa. Brian Flores and Chris Grier, they are monitoring the Deshaun Watson situation. They're hoping the legalities go away, and they want to make a move for Deshaun Watson. That's what I am being told where this is coming down from. Now, I've been told Brian Flores doesn't like how Tua Tagovailoa, quote unquote, has been shoved down his throat as a head coach. I am being told that, and this is from multiple people, not just one person, by the way, so everyone knows where I'm going with this. I've been told by 2 different people this, okay? I am being told Brian Flores is the rumor of him not being all in on Tua Tagovailoa is true. I am also being told that Brian Flores, I told you something between me and you, ball game, privately before I went live, where I could basically set Tua stands against Brian Flores, believers like that, if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to put that out there because I was told not to. I am basically being told that Brian Flores isn't happy with the Tua Tagovailoa situation and hasn't been since they drafted him. And that Stephen Ross is kind of putting his foot down and saying, you're not moving off this kid. And I've even been told, as far as this, guys, that if Tua doesn't work out, both Brian Flores and Chris Greer could potentially lose their jobs. And Stephen Ross wants to go with an offensive-minded coach that will either A, continue to groom Tua Tagovailoa, or B, along with a new GM, draft a whole new quarterback in Miami. So this is what I'm being told privately. That the power struggle is, in fact, Greer and Flores against Stephen Ross right now, and it comes down. And I was also told privately, Miami Dolphins are the number 1 destination for Deshaun Watson. This is where he wants to be. It's in Miami. So, I mean, again, I told the people, I was told, go ahead, knock yourself out of the park, divulging that stuff. I had the one piece of information I told you privately, ball game, Formula Live, that I cannot divulge. But I was asked not to reveal who told me this stuff. Sources, right?
Right.
So,
sources.
Exactly. So, let's start with you, ball game. What do you think about that? Because that's a lot to unpack.
I'm not surprised, bro. I remember the draft, Lamar Jackson draft, to be exact. And I remember there was rumbles about Ross wanting Greer to go back up to the first round and grab Lamar before Baltimore grabbed him, and they didn't. I just didn't. And I knew for a fact that Ross was looking for a transcendent quarterback, and that was going to be his top priority, to find a guy that he liked, a guy that he thought could lead the Dolphins over what anybody else had, and over what anybody else felt about it. So I'm not surprised. None of this surprises me now at this point that this is coming out, because even last year with Tua dropping to number 5 and being hurt, I said that's a Ross pick. That's Stephen Ross putting his foot down and saying, this is the kid I want. Missed on my guy earlier. This is the guy I want. Make it happen. And then all of the other picks kind of fell the way they fell, and Flores got him a guy in the first round as well. But, I'm not surprised, bro, because I think to some degree, right, when you made the comments and you told me about the sources that said that Flores was in love with Herbert, what did he just come from? He just came from a place where you got a big stature quarterback with above average arm, and Herbert's got a cannon, right? That's what he's used to. He's not used to the Russell Wilson types, barely 6 foot, elite accuracy, but doesn't have the huge cannon and all that type of stuff. So when he started working with him, during the season, I think that was his way of trying to possibly close the gap of how he felt about the kid, But, at the end of the day, his job was dependent upon getting players that maybe in his mind, his job was dependent on him getting players that are 100% healthy that he can get and groom now. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what he was thinking. I think we shocked everybody by winning the 10 games we won. So, but the pressure's still going to be on. And if the guy's never really your guy from the beginning, it's really kind of hard for you to completely buy into him. You know what I mean? Which is why I never dispelled any of the really blatantly just dispelled any of the Deshaun Watson stuff. But I also felt like if it was going to happen, all three parties would have to be heavily involved in that. And with Ross being the checkbook, sometimes checkbook trump the other two. You feel me? Like they can say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, he signed everybody check. So if he ain't in 100% agreement with it, then you're gonna have some division, and that's just not something that we really need to be having at that level. You know what I mean? Because it also could be one of these situations now that we're dealing with behind the scene with X too. Whereas then Ross saying, "Hey, let's pay him," and Greer saying, "That's not how we do business, sir." And you know what I mean?
Well, let me hit you with this ball game.
So,
and this is just a theory. I haven't heard this by any stretch of the imagination. This is just a theory.
Right.
One of the original deals I heard for Watson was 3 first rounds, Christian Wilkins, and Xavier Howard. What if the reason they haven't moved on paying Xavier Howard or dealing with that is because they're still hoping the Watson stuff gets worked out and they can try and put a deal on the table with Xavier Howard involved?
Hey, man. It wouldn't surprise me, bro, because Houston would be looking for somebody that can come in and shore up their secondary right away. Christian Wilkins would be a piece that they can build around on the D-line. But, and then 3 firsts as well.
Which has probably come significantly down. Because another thing you have to realize too, right? Ross took a ton of heat for his Trump support, right?
Yeah.
He probably doesn't want to go down that avenue with the press that would come with acquiring Deshaun Watson. Right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because they drug him. They drug him for a while, man. He had to really come out and get out in front of all that stuff with Trump and just say, listen, just because I do business with somebody don't make them friends of mine. You know what I mean? And just because I believe in some of the policies and things that he does as a businessman, I don't let that bleed over into how I see things in regards to everyday life. Some things that he does, I love, and some things that he does, I don't. You know what I mean? But that doesn't make us best friends type of thing. So he really, and for him to have to come out and get out in front of that like that, that's not a comfortable feeling for a billionaire, because billionaires don't really feel like they got to answer to anybody. You feel me? But in those instances when your fan base is galvanized behind certain topics, when he forced to have to go through that process to do that, I think the last thing he want to do is have to put himself in a situation where he's got to come out and do that again. And I get it, bro. Watson's amazing talent, but these dudes, man, when the boss is really, how do you win that? The boss is saying one thing and the employees are saying something different. Like, that power struggle don't make a whole lot of sense to me. That's a lose-lose for them. You either get on board and rally behind this kid, or you might find yourself on the outside. I just don't see how how either the two of them can rally together and think that they can win that.
What do you what do you think, Damien? For people, because our viewer number is going up here steadily. For people just tuning in, basically, what I've heard privately is there's a power struggle right now between Brian Flores, Chris Greer against Stephen Ross. Ross wants them to stick with Tua Tagovailoa. Chris Greer and Brian Flores wanted to make the move for Deshaun Watson. Flores hates the Tua Tagovailoa situation and how he's been quote unquote shoved down his throat. When you hear all this, what are your thoughts on? Because guys, we've been dealing with a dysfunctional organization for 20 freaking years, man.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. To answer that, and it really goes real deep. Going back to when Chris Greer was the general manager, the team's first name general manager, and when he fell in love with Tua Tagovailoa during the second half of that national title game, and Brian Flores been his hand-picked guy. This is my opinion. If I was a GM and I'm picking this coach, and I know that I have to do a massive overhaul of a team, and I know, quote unquote, I'm a tank, I'm going to break this team down so I can build it back up, I'm going to have a conversation with this coach that well, if we're in position, we're going to take Tagovailoa. I'm sure that conversation had to have been discussed somewhere down the line. So the thing for me is, at that moment, why aren't both of y'all on the same page? Now, with the situation with Flo, I get that you didn't want Tua Tagovailoa. I totally get that. You know, same thing with Dan Marino. I totally get that. And as of right now, Brian Flores looks right. But at the end of the day, you being the coach and Greer being the GM, you have to put on your big boy pants and still coach this kid up. Now with Chris Greer, at the end of the day, this is what's telling to me before I say anything about Stephen Ross. Chris Greer was a Tua guy. And yes, I understand the time with Deshaun Watson, top 5 quarterback when this situation is on him. But it's kind of telling on what he's thinking of Tua Tagovailoa, being that he sees him every day. I asked this question because this has to be a real conversation for us Dolphin fans. At the end of the day, we bleed aqua and orange, nothing else. You have to ask, just off that one season, would the LA Chargers make this deal for Justin Herbert? And let's be honest, the answer is hell no. So now we have to look at this and recognize this funk that we're in. I'm saying this, at this situation, yeah, I see they're still monitoring the Deshaun Watson situation, but we're so close to camp that the best situation is to put all that we have invested into a Tagovailoa, because now as we speak, the Deshaun Watson situation is still a situation. So until that clears it up, we need to push forward. And with the Steelers thing, I get it that, okay, I've given y'all the luxury of over $200 million of my money that I've spent. But at the end of the day, you're a businessman. You're not a football mind. If you entrusted these guys, you need to trust these guys or fire them. But I will say this. Do I agree with the offensive decisions that Flo has made? No. But defensively, he's a hell of a mind. And those players love and bleed Flo. And if we fire him, it will be a shit show disaster. And this could set franchise back a few years. And it's all up in Foxborough that will hire him back on their staff. And also, until the Watson situation becomes a possibility, because that was not even that. At least they're willing to pull the trigger while this thing is still going on. And with this team's history, I don't know if that's wise. That we need to put all our emotions into Tua Tagovailoa. And if it's not that situation, Dolphin fans, we need to figure out something quick, fast, and in a hurry. Because if we don't, and we suck this year, we don't even get that top 5 pick that what could be our sucky season. It goes to Philly. And that's pressure not only on Brian Flores, because that Christian Wilkins, you can't be 13th overall and do dirty work. No, 13th overall, you need to be that guy. We might have drafted Dexter Lawrence. That was the lineman off Clemson we should have drafted. Chris Greer, at the end of the day, Tua is linked to you, and so is Austin Jackson. So is Austin Jackson. At the end of the day, Stephen Ross, don't be Jerry Jones. Because guess what? With you being a meddlesome owner, I don't care if Miami's a nice place to live at, players live there in the off season. But guess what? We'll go back into that hellhole of free agents not wanting to come and top-notch coaches not wanting to come. And we'll be back in that hellhole again. So these 3 guys need to put on their boy pants, need to talk about it, and need to figure out their mistakes, because at the end of the day, as Dolphin fans, they're all millionaires. They're all bounced back. But us as Dolphin fans, we're going to suffer the most.
See, you know, when they made the switch, now that this stuff's being divulged, when they made the switch off a 3-game winning streak?
3-game winning streak.
When they made the switch off a 3-game winning streak to Ryan Fitzpatrick to Tua Tagovailoa when ball game, just a week or 2 before that, Flores is out here saying Tua's not ready to start. If he was my kid, I wouldn't want him out there. All of a sudden, miraculously, he's ready to go. Me and EM were up here. EM believed, if Flores didn't think he was ready, he wouldn't put him out there. Now that we're hearing that the owner's involved, doesn't this make a lot more sense now?
I said that. I said that then. That felt to me as though it came from up top. Like he wanted to see this kid, man. He wanted to see this kid so you can actually get the fan base galvanized back behind the situation and build some, build some enthusiasm and all that type of stuff. I know it's Flores' job. He was in a tough position regardless, bro. You got to win games, but in the same sense, Ross is looking at it from the larger lens. I gotta keep generating revenue with this. I can't be I got other businesses, but I got this one has to flourish too. I can't keep pouring money into this, and I'm funneling and losing and bleeding all over the place if it ain't gonna be advantageous for me as well. You know what I mean? He ain't about losing money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what that came down to. And when it happened, and the timing that it happened, there was nobody gonna convince me otherwise that it didn't come from up top. They can say whatever they want, but when your head coach come out and said that he wouldn't put him out there unless he thought he was ready and all this other type of stuff, and he didn't allude at all to the fact that he was putting them out there, and then they made the switch. I'm thinking, Ralston came in there into the room, this kid starts. And then,
hey, can I ask both of y'all a question?
Yeah.
Because I respect Reason's offensive mind and I respect Mr. Ballgame's defensive mind. I just want to ask this one question. Out of all three parties, I'm excluding Bill from this because he's the out of all three parties, isn't Greer the biggest one to blame, being that was his guy? And God forbid if Tua Tagovailoa doesn't pan out and you flip that quick.
Yeah, here's a problem.
More of your mess?
Yeah, here's the problem though. When you think about it in terms of how they're sitting down and how they're moving around in the organization and stuff, Greer's spending way more time with Flores than he is with Ross. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So in those instances, even though he was all in on Tua, you know what I'm saying, that was all in on Tua prior to Tua getting hurt, right? And even then, they had to wait for all the reports and all of the things. They did all that vetting with the medical staff and all that stuff to assure them that it wouldn't be something that he couldn't bounce back from. The fact of the matter was, then at that point, your coach is upset. And in all this time they spent together, all these things, you know what I mean? You start to really and truthfully hear a lot of different perspective than the boss, right? So I think he in a really, me personally, I think he's in a really bad spot because he's stuck right in the middle between them two. And having affinity for Tua, you know what I'm saying? But then also wanting to ensure that your coach is happy and you got to make your boss happy. That's a horrible place to be, bro. And like, there's a no-win. It's a no-win situation for Greer. But Flores still also has to understand, at some point you gotta let some things go, man, and move on and just be the best coach you can be, because ain't nobody gonna care about that, bro. Nobody ain't gonna care about the fact that you didn't want the kid. They want to see results. They need to see results. And they need to come.
Look at this ball.
I'm listening.
No, I was just going to say, the piggyback, and I'm not comparing the two because it's not a comparison. But Belichick didn't get along with Brady towards the end, but they still went to multiple Super Bowls. Not comparing Tua to Brady at all, but you have to put on your big boy pants and still coach, because at the end of the day, you're linked to that kid. His success is going to be for your future. And with Greer, God knows, like, you're locked in on that kid. After he got hurt, you were still locked on that kid. And just as much as because of how they were drafted, Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert are linked for life. No matter what, they're linked for life. The same with Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. Burrow's not in the conversation. He was picked first overall. Those two are linked. Chris Greer is also linked to that threesome. If Tua goes on to be a future Hall of Famer, Chris Greer will always be known as the guy who chose him over Justin Herbert. If Justin Herbert keeps on this trajectory and Tua is just an average quarterback or isn't that guy, Chris Greer will always be known as that GM who chose Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert. It's God knows it's hard being a Dolphins fan, but I love my fans. But it's God knows we don't want Chris Greer to be Nick Saban. And anybody that knows Dolphins talk know what I'm hinting at with that. With choices with quarterbacks. It's God knows. We just need, the best thing to clear this up is we need our guy to be that guy.
Do you guys
That's the best thing
realize?
to clear up anything.
Do you guys realize what Ross is setting himself up to, though? When I tell you guys that, from what I'm hearing, the front office wants Watson, while ownership wants Tua right now. And I was told, and I quote, let me right here, to bring up the quote right here for you guys, so I can read it to you guys verbatim. I was basically told, Miami's front office wants Watson still, but ownership wants Tua. Watson wants to go to Miami more than any other team. That's where he wants to be. Miami is hopeful. The front office is hopeful he gets out of his legal situation. Miami's seat is hot for Flores, and it'll lead to him being fired if Tua stinks. If Tua doesn't perform well, Stephen Ross fires the guys who will remind him they shouldn't have drafted him. Start fresh with an offensive-minded head coach and a new QB. If Tua does perform well, Stephen Ross can basically say, I told you so, and hold it against them, but while keeping them because he still believes they're good at what they do. So, I mean, you add in right now with you add in with the X situation, what I've told you, what I've said publicly, what I'm hearing from people close to players, that the new playbook is complicated and confusing, but Tua is grasping it. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff setting us up to hold us back. I was basically given the impression, I was also told, he hates that Tua was shoved down his throat.
I can understand that.
Because he doesn't have the control aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I was told that Brian Flores is insanely controlling.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
So for someone who's insanely controlling, not having control over that situation isn't going to sit well with you, right?
Most defense. Go ahead.
And just I was told in the same by one of those two people too. If I go out here, that the pro Herbert story is true. Brian Flores wanted Herbert. My whole thing though is, get over it. They didn't draft Herbert. Why is this even still weighing? Like, are we getting to this point? We always talk about ball game, how stubborn coaches are, how they think they can develop guys, or, oh, that team couldn't get that out of that guy, but I can get it out of that guy.
Mm-hmm. Ego,
like,
man.
are we that egotistical and petty that we can't move on from the situation? This is what you have to work with. This is the quarterback that your shelf life is currently tied to. And isn't the ironic thing about all of this that and remember, I came out months and months ago and I said, I don't think Flores wanted Tua. And now we're starting to hear that, privately, like, this is exactly what the situation was. Isn't it ironic that Brian Flores' shelf life is really turning into being tied to Tua, the guy he didn't want to begin with? Is this something, you're a former coach, is this something he could have been afraid of? That, I don't like this kid to begin with. Oh crap, if we take him and he doesn't turn out like I think he might not, that might cost me my ass.
Well, to be honest with you, that's always a concern of a new coach coming in, especially one that's not that hasn't built their name on the offensive side of the ball. Him being a defensive-minded coach, bro, he is always going to be thinking about, put a player there that I don't have to worry about, type of deal, right? Health-wise, mentally, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that stuff, right? And then, unfortunately, Tua had the injury. So, in Brian's mind, now at this point, I got to move to the next guy, because I believe that we got a staff that can actually get the next guy. The next guy may not be the best guy, but he'll be good enough. Because even in New England, right, if you think about it, historically, like Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft was all the way down Bill's throat the first 4 years until he won. until he started winning. That's when Kraft backed off and just allowed Bill to do what he did. Brian Flores in the same play. He in the same boat right now at this point. He has to prove that he can do what he was brought in to do, which is win the games that matter the most. And then I believe Ross will back off. But Ross at this point right now, I think his issue was more with Greer than was with Flores. And Flores just happened to be the one that's having to deal with all of it because you missed out on getting Lamar. We could have had Lamar and not even been in this situation is what Ross is thinking. So I'm not going to miss out on getting another top guy. I don't care if he hurt or not. The medical reports say he's going to be fine. This is the guy because if he wasn't hurt, he'd be going number one and we wouldn't even have a shot at him. Get this kid. And that's Ross thinking. He doesn't know probably all of the other ins and outs of all of the stuff behind the scene. And he ain't taking into consideration nobody's personal feelings because at the end of the day, scared money don't make no money. You feel me? And it is his job is to manage the bleeding and ensure that whatever money he puts into this team gains him long-term success. So he's seeing it, they're all looking at it from three different lenses, but unfortunately, Flores is the lowest man on the totem pole because, the orders come from up top and flow downhill. They don't go up. So no matter, like you said, no matter how he feels about it, he got to get out his feelings, bro, and just galvanize himself to this kid and move on smartly from that. Hell, go out and build a Baltimore Ravens type defense, and then you ain't got to worry about it. If that's the case, if you're that concerned about it, but Ross loves Tua. Most of the Miami fan base loves Tua. He ain't trading that in. We're not walking away from that, so he might as well get out of his feeling and go and move on about doing his damn job. That's what it comes down to. I understand it because no coach really wants to not have their guy, right? But in this instance, you came from the defensive side of the ball. If this kid can come out and do exactly what any of these other quarterbacks can do, then what's your issue with him? Justin Herbert gone. Let that shit go and move on from it. I've seen it a lot of times in football, man, where a coach gets replaced, a new coach shows up, but the incumbent starter is there, and he's highly affiliated and tied into, his family is big boosters of the program and all that stuff, and the coach wants to go with another kid, but you can't move this kid because this kid's been here for 2 years grinding to take over the starting spot. You feel me? So what do? You either turn away from the job. No, you're not going to turn away from the job. So coach the kid up and you keep it moving. And that's really what Brian Flores is going to have to do, bro. Like, you have to tighten up your belt, put on your big boy pants, man, and just go to work. Make sure that whoever is in the room with Tua is doing every damn thing they're supposed to do to ensure that when he shows up on Sunday that he is as perfect as he can possibly be. And then your defense go out there and do the rest and special teams. Because at this point, Ross, this is the Miami Dolphins owned by Stephen Ross, not the Miami Dolphins owned by, Greer and Flores.
Let me ask you this, ball game. If we're painting this picture and we're seeing how a little bit of dysfunction behind the scenes right now, and Flores being insanely controlling and being so quick to move off of guys, could this be even more reason of why X is asking for his money right away?
Yes, sir.
Because he's seeing what's happening behind the scenes.
Well, in all actuality, man, I've been putting a lot of thought into this. Like, from X's standpoint right now, he doesn't have any real guaranteed money, right? So the line that he has to tread is so thin that the Dolphins can clearly just say, you know what, next year we just cut him and only lose $2.some million towards the cap. You know what I mean? Cap hit and not even worry about it. And he's asked out. So from his standpoint, and you're dealing with a guy like Flores, who at this point right now is really like my way of what it'll come down to is I believe he's more my way of the highway than anything else, right? Behind the scenes. Like most players probably ain't gonna ever really say that because they haven't put themselves or been in positions where they gotta be in a room with him or talk to him in detail, and he's just looking at them like, you got a job to do. You've been paid. I expect you to be here type of thing. That cold callousness, all that's learned behavior, bro. You know what I mean? I don't think he grew up that way, but I think he learned to be that way by watching Bill move a lot. You know what I mean? Because That's the same conversation Bill had with Gilmore. You got paid. We took care of you. I'm not giving you any more money. Type of deal. You know what I mean? No matter, because they don't fall in love with the players. They love Bill. A whole bunch of foolishness going on in most of the organizations that are consistently successful every year because guys show up and do their jobs. Hightower even talked about it 2 seasons ago where he just said, like he can't even describe for you what his relationship with Bill is because he just does his job, and then as long as he's doing his job, he don't have no problem with Bill. You feel me? But if he has a bad game or he missed some things or he do some things that are wrong, then the other side of Bill shows up, but he understands it because it's a business, right? And if X is running around right, thinking that Flores is going to change who he's become based on who his model was, like I hate to sound cliche, but when you come from underneath that umbrella with Bill, you're damn near Bill, just in a different skin. Right? Guys don't go there and learn how to do anything else other than to be more determined, more focused, more callous, less feelings involved, more business involved. Let's get down to the brass tacks of how can we be a better football team person. That's what he creates. You know what I mean? They turn all emotion off when they hit the facility. Especially when you hear reports of like Bill walking right by Tom in the morning and not even saying hello to him. Tom, we all know Tom gonna be the GOAT. He's gonna go down as one of the greatest. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. But when your coach don't even acknowledge your presence in the mornings or even speak to you, it's about that business, man. And Flores can be, you know what I mean? It really, he has to, in order for him to be able to have the flexibility to make the decisions and grab the guys that he covets and he wants over what Ross wants, he got to win. Because Bill and Robert Kraft went through the same exact things. Because even when Bledsoe got healthy, when in that run, that playoff run, when Bledsoe was actually healthy and able to play, Robert Kraft wanted Brady on the field. Bill wanted to go back to Bledsoe.
Yeah.
And the age of Tom Brady was formed. You feel what I'm saying? So until you prove to me that you can complete this process.
And it happened with Jimmy G as well, right?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. And I don't see Steven Ross being an unreasonable man, but at the same time, it's just a business for him. And at the end of the day, Tua Tagovailoa is gonna feel the stands every Sunday. People gonna come out in droves to see this kid play, right? They want to see it, either whether they want to see him fail or they want to see him excel. They're gonna come out, and that's what Ross is banking on. And we don't have Justin Herbert, so to have Flores sitting around still in his feelings, possibly sulking over that just makes no sense at all. Because all you're doing is basically taking away time that you could be focusing on figuring out how you're gonna tweak the other players on this position in the event that things don't happen with Xavier Howard. You know what I mean? To get Noah up to speed, because a lot of your success is going to hinge on Noah too, because he was your pick. That's what he should be focusing on more than anything. The guys that he hand selected. Raekwon worked out for you, but Noah got to hit too, because you got Raekwon not in the first round. You feel me? Noah has to hit. Otherwise, you're going to be questioned about that as well.
And look at how many big ticket free agents whiffed that he had a hand on, right?
Yeah.
Kyle Van Noy.
Yeah. All that money gone now at this point when, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're the owner, bro, and you're looking back over the last year of this whole situation, bro, you're thinking to yourself, like, what the fuck did I get for my money?
Yeah.
Van Noy still getting paid by me and not here in New England. He was still paying a portion of his salary, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man. So I see all three tiers of it, and with Greer in the middle trying to appease both of these guys, man, he's got the worst job of all right now.
And Jameson says kid went 6-3 as a starter with half a hip. We drafted him 5th overall. All of a sudden, Greer and Flores don't like the kid or don't want the kid. Makes absolutely no sense in my opinion. Sure, it does. They're in a window to win now, and they believe Watson's further along. That's exactly why they want Watson, because they believe Watson has no development left. You know what his ceiling is. it's still a question of what Tua's ceiling is going to be, and they probably believe, as of today on June 25th, 2021, Watson can take this offense farther than Tua Tagovailoa can. So,
I mean, to be honest with you, that's probably 95% accurate in regards to him being able to do it because he's already excelled at the NFL level. Tua still has to do it, and I get them. I get everybody's concerns. I get Flores' position in it all. If I got to do this, and we got a time frame, but when you really want to have us most competitive, it has to be now. So give me all of the top pieces now. I get it, but it's still been proven, right? It's still been proven that you can get it done in other areas, and your quarterback just doesn't have to be the most elite piece on your offense, right? Everybody else, other guys just have to step up, and everybody has to galvanize. Because even if you bring Watson in, the offensive line still got to do their damn job. And the wide receivers, bringing Watson in, the wide receivers, they still have to catch the ball. They have to complete the catches. You feel me? So the same things that plagued Tua and Fitzpatrick could still be very much here if those guys don't step up and take the next steps. So bringing Watson in, ain't no guarantees. Ain't no guarantees of anything. What's guaranteed is that come September, the Patriots the first game of the season, and we gotta be ready for whoever that is. And I believe, that should be the focus right now at this point because Watson ain't here. So you go to war with who you got.
Like I there had to have been a cutoff line. Like, why is the front office still monitoring Deshaun Watson? Like, and now management with Stephen Ross is having to step in and say, no, you're going with Tua Tagovailoa. And now you're we go back to what I was told about Flores being insanely controlling and him hating Tua, the situation with Tua being shoved down his throat and out of his control. Like, you're not giving him control of the situation, and it's just creating this whole friction effect.
This is the crazy thing about the whole situation. Just listen to what Ball Game said and exactly what you said, Reed. About the cutoff point. Like, this is my thing. This is what's concerning me a lot as a Dolphin fan. They see this kid every damn day. The jobs are, no matter how you want to spin it, depends on not only the team's success, but his success because he's picked overall. And at the end of the day, if they're seeing him every damn day, why are they still invested in a quarterback that is a top 5 quarterback but has a legal situation on him? And I go back to teams with young quarterbacks could be picked last year. Those teams, would they do this? And that's what I'm having a hard time grasping, that you still are locked in on getting Watson. What is the issue, or what are y'all seeing?
Haven't you heard okay, first of all, it's again, they believe Watson could take them farther right now than Tua can right now. Second of all, I don't know if you heard, but do you know that there was basically a settlement number agreed upon? The sticking point was Watson and his attorneys wanted all these women to come out from under anonymous, and they said no. So that brought them back to the table, and they said okay, they retracted the settlement. So
but this is my question.
So
I'm sorry, brother.
Like, here's the thing: the NFL's been investigating this for how long?
Yeah.
Don't you find it crazy that they haven't come out? And ruled him. Oh, he's ineligible.
Right.
Yeah, because it's going to come a point in time when he's going to show up to get his money. So then Houston's going to have to make a decision or come up off of him. And my thing is, again, not throwing Justin Herbert's name constantly out there, but Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback right now than Justin Herbert, hands down. But how come?
Quarterback in the NFL,
Yeah, how come? This is my opinion. I don't see the Dolphins. I mean, the Chargers front office saying, well, even though Deshaun's a better quarterback right now, we know that this guy's going to be guy for the future. It's no doubt. And my thing is, okay.
I think the difference is, Damien, as a roster, we're closer than the Chargers.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we have a better roster. And that's the thing that gets me. Is it safe to say, and I'm looking at it through aqua and orange colored glasses. I'm not giving up on my kid. I'm not giving up on Tua Tagovailoa, but I am a Dolphin fan. As of right now, the way I'm looking at it, is Chris Greer saying I made a mistake taking Tua Tagovailoa at pick 5. That's all I'm saying is because he's all in on this Washington thing now. He was all in on Tua. And 6 starts. He won 6 starts. He was 6-3. But Justin Herbert won 7 games. Justin Herbert had a worse offensive line. He had inconsistency with the running back because Eckler was always hurt. I will give that Justin Herbert had better receivers. But we trumped them in defense and in coaching. So at the end of the day, as Dolphin fans, this is a real conversation that we got to have. He outpassed Tua. His completion percentage was like 66, 67%, so that was damn good. As it comes to the realization that this is what it is. I'm just asking because I'm looking at it as a fan. At the end of the day, I know about football, but at the end of the day, I'm a fan. I'm a diehard Dolphin fan.
Well, you know what Flores and Greer have proven to us already. It doesn't matter if we paid you a $50 million contract or whether we drafted you. If you don't live up to what we expect from you, we will move off you right away. We will not sit on our hands and wait around. And that's the issue we're running into right now, I think, okay, first of all, we've talked about this, right? Okay, people need to realize Chris Greer and Brian Flores are in a different situation than most GM and head coach combinations are. Why? They're a minority duo. They're not going to be afforded the same length of time and the same amount of chances that a Caucasian head coach and GM are going to be afforded. That's just the way it is. I mean, you got to sit back and reflect and be like, it's the same reason why Eric Bieniemy hasn't got a job and the Eagles hired a yes man to be their head coach instead of Eric Bieniemy, right?
Yeah, so they're way smaller.
Exactly. So they're sitting there saying, man, if Tua doesn't live up to the 5th overall billing and we keep saying, next year, we're going to run into a point where there ain't next year. Whereas with the roster we have right now, we could bring in a guy like Deshaun Watson and we think the playoffs are a lock.
Right.
And what is winning and playoff appearances, what's that going to do to you? That's going to buy you more time. Look at Marvin Lewis. The guy was if Super Bowl and AFC Championship wins are the pinnacle of defining a winner, the guy was a perennial loser, but he got them to the playoffs consistently or in the hunt for the playoffs. And look what happened, right? And he didn't move off Dalton, and that ended up costing him his tenure with Cincinnati.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing with Flores. Flores is probably sitting there saying, people got to realize, how old's Byron Jones?
28.
How old's Xavier Howard?
Be 28 on July 4th.
Okay, the heart and soul of what you're doing, they're not young guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're going to win with those guys,
it's now.
You're going to win with them more so at 28, 29 than you will at 31, 32.
Right.
Right?
But
the thing is the way they built that offensive line, that rookie offensive line, that young offensive line, Deshaun Watson, call it what you may, they probably, I'm not saying they're right or wrong, I'm just saying the thought process is Deshaun Watson, because of his athletic ability, he's a better athlete than Tua, no one can argue that. Because of his athletic ability, he can probably maneuver the ups between the ups and downs of being behind that offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, they all have their reasons, and I think, like when you look at it from their perspective and having that shortened, more condensed box of or window to make it all happen, Yeah, they have to exhaust every possible option to make every piece or every position as elite as possible. And I get it, you know what I mean? But it's a little disheartening though, because to have the vision about a kid that you know without a shadow of a doubt has come out and proven to you that he's 100% willing to commit himself back to getting back to a level at which most people will be 100% happy with, hopefully. What do you tell him, right? You know what I'm saying? How does that play into this whole process if they actually even bring him in now, bring Watson in? If they do pull the trigger and bring Watson in, then how does that look?
So we got EM just joined. We got 270 people in the room right now. Just to recap, what I've been told privately today when I did my digging about the hot seat conversation was, yes, Flores was pro Herbert before the draft. Okay. Flores feels the whole Tua situation has been shoved down his throat. I was told he's quote unquote insanely controlling and doesn't like that he didn't have control of the situation. We're at a power struggle between Stephen Ross against Chris Grier and Brian Flores. Chris Grier and Brian Flores, are still monitoring the Deshaun Watson situation. They're hoping the legalities get out of the way, while Stephen Ross has stepped in and said, no, we're going with Tua Tagovailoa. And on top of that, it's been confirmed to me privately, and that's not news to any of you, but Deshaun Watson, his number one destination to come, is in fact the Miami Dolphins. So I was also told that if Tua doesn't succeed under this regime, Stephen Ross may clean the house and go for a more offensive-minded head coach and outlook with this team that would either continue to groom Tua or draft a new quarterback, because he doesn't want to basically have the I told you so's still remaining around. Whereas if Tua does succeed under them, it's a win-win situation for Ross, because then he can turn around and say, listen, I told you so, stick with the kid. So, EM, what's going on, buddy?
Gentlemen, what's going on? Ball game. Damien, what's good, homie? Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, man, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. Man, it's a lot to unpack there.
What's up, EM?
Man, I got to be honest, bro. I got a heavy heart tonight. I really do. So unfortunate. This, number one, appears to be a story in a legit situation, but so close to training camp. It just, I've been feeling this way for a while. I just had this bad feeling. I felt there was a storm coming, and it looks like there is one upon us. And a lot to unpack there. Man, this is so unfortunate. But reason we talked about this privately, Damien, we talked about this earlier as well privately. At the end of the day, I want to know fundamentally, why is there a disconnect between Flores and this player and Tua? You know what I mean? And we talked about this earlier. And I've been sitting and I've been thinking about this for a while now, since a lot of these stories have surfaced. Fundamentally, what is the disconnect? Flores, we all know, we believe now the stories are accurate about him wanting to go in a different direction in the draft with Herbert. It can only be two things. Is Flores that petty and he's that spiteful where he's just not going to even entertain Tua long term, no matter what positive things we see from him? Or B, and this is extremely uncomfortable for a lot of people, what if they just don't believe Tua is it? They have gotten him in camp, and listen, I'm not saying I agree. I'm just trying to figure out why is there a disconnect with our coach and his player. And you're hearing these reports, and apparently this Watson situation will not die, and they're still entertaining. It's like they're just twiddling their thumbs and waiting till this situation, this legal matter, goes away, and immediately they're going to jump in and pounce on Deshaun Watson. And again, I cannot blame them for that. But my thing is, in regards to Tua, if Watson doesn't clear his legal matters up and we're able to obtain him, or Stephen Ross vetoes the possibility of a trade, Why is there a disconnect between Flores and Tua? And that's what we need. I want to know what the root cause is, because at the end of the day, that's what you got to figure out. The first thing you need to figure out, the most important thing you need to figure out, so we can move forward. So if Watson is not on the table, Aaron Rodgers is not on the table, an alternative to Tua Tagovailoa is not on the table, you have to figure out what that disconnect is so we can move forward. And that's my primary concern at this point.
What if Flores isn't what he tries to give off in perception to the media? What if he really not only didn't want Tua, but we talked about this earlier, what if he's afraid that Tua isn't going to live up to expectations and that could cost him his job? And on top of this, I mean, I told you, I told Ballgame that little tidbit that I told you privately. I'm not going to say it publicly. You know, that could basically set Tua's stance against Brian Flores believers. It's clear he's looking for ways to get out of this, bro.
And
why is he so adamant of getting out of it?
That's what I'm saying. Reason he wasn't even doing this for Josh. I mean, to be honest with you, he wasn't even doing this for Josh Rosen. He was willing to get Josh Rosen, until he gave him enough rope to hang himself, right? But it's like he's not willing to give Tua that same. And Tua, looked, light years ahead of Josh Rosen.
I think
so. Again, fundamentally, bro, what is the root cause of this disconnect?
I think a lot of it may stem exclusively from the fact that he wasn't given the opportunity to make the decision to move the Tua. It was told to him, and he was told to fall in line. You're gonna like it, whether you like it or not. The kid's gonna start, now deal with it, type of situation. And
but do you really think? Do you really think Flores is that petty? Do you really think he's that?
What if you're a control freak like Belichick?
Well,
yeah, you gotta think to some. You gotta think like to some degree, bro. He could be the best. He could be a completely different person outside of his work environment. But where he came from in New England, it is so structured that nothing happens up there. Nothing happens without Bill being an initiating it, and Bill being in charge of every aspect of it, right? So when they say, what did they say? First thing they said when they got into the first practices with him was everything was so different than anything they had ever experienced. Everything is structured, time, place, where guys are going, how you getting there, all this type of stuff. He controlled every aspect of it. And then when you come down to this point, and he's thinking, well, I still got some time. You know what I'm saying? We on a 3-game win streak. We 3-3 now. You know what I'm saying? Getting ready to move forward. We got some forward momentum. And the next thing you know, you're told, kid starting. What do you mean kid starting? I don't think he's ready yet. I just came out and told people that I wouldn't put in my head unless I thought he was 100%. Now this point, now you got to go back and get behind. You know what I mean? Get out in front of a whole situation that really and truthfully he probably wasn't 100% bought into. You feel me? Like he said, if for my kid, I'm not putting my kid out there unless I know he's 100% type of deal. You feel what I'm saying?
Here's another thing too. Here's another issue too, Ballgame. I'm sorry. Here's another issue too as well. This owner, since he purchased the Miami Dolphins, we have never known him to interfere in personnel decisions. Please, if somebody is aware of a previous situation, please enlighten me, because I don't know of one.
The only thing I've heard of,
Lamar Jackson, bro.
I've heard that might have been a contributing factor, that he made it known that he wanted Lamar Jackson. They didn't drafted him, and then Lamar goes off and becomes an MVP in the league. And I think that's why I was told that is believed to potentially be a contributing factor, that Stephen Ross is still bitter that they didn't listen to him about Lamar Jackson.
And now he's him meddling in personnel affairs when he's always said that, at least publicly, that I've heard him multiple times say, well, I don't interfere in personnel decisions. I mean, he gave Adam Gase all the leeway. We all question a lot of the bonehead.
And look where that got him.
Gase.
And look where that got him, right?
Right. So I wonder why, we talked about this earlier. Why is Stephen Ross more inclined to be more have a more hands-on approach in terms of personnel right now at this point in time.
Listen, nobody don't want to say it, bro, but I'm gonna say it. Like he legitimately at this point now has proven himself to be, or has given the impression that he's one of the more forward-thinking owners in the league. Right? You have a black GM and you got a black coach, right? But let's be honest, they still have to produce. So in those instances, I don't think Ross really and truthfully wants to put them on a shorter timeline, but they have to produce. Otherwise, the whole concept of him going out and making those hires and putting those guys in those positions is going to bring about a whole bunch of scrutiny. And you know what I'm saying, that he really and truthfully might not want to deal with. So maybe that's why he's interjecting himself and saying, you know what, you got to see it from my point of view to some degree as well. You feel me? And it's a lot of stuff that can be brought into it, bro. But at the end of the day, you know as well as I do, Flores and Greer are not going to have the same. They're not going to have the same amount of rope to hang themselves that maybe their other non-African American counterparts would have. They're not. Mm. So, and I think he wants them to succeed so bad that at this point, maybe that's why he's stepping in and saying, "Listen, we can't. We got to keep moving forward. We got the fan base somewhat shifted in a positive direction. Yeah, 6-3 might not have been the best thing, but the kid showed up and he played, and so gave us something to look forward to. Yes, I get that Watson could be a whole lot better for us, but I don't want to touch that. I don't want to have nothing to do with that right now with all the stuff that I've had to deal with. You feel me?
And ball game, he also helped. Tua also increases the bottom line, which is he brings in money.
Yeah.
I have my own theory and reason, and
I got a question.
We talked. I'm sorry, Damon. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Damon.
Oh, he fell off. Go ahead. He'll come back. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have my own theory. Reason we talked about this earlier. It goes back to, again, I truly believe it's not only Tua Tagovailoa related. I think overall, Ross has evaluated this team. He's evaluated them since he's given them absolute power. Mm-hmm. He's evaluated the resources that were made available to the staff, and he's evaluated the results. What results has he gotten since he's given them these resources? And I think I don't think he's ready to fire anyone yet, but I think he's looking at him a little sideways in terms of draft capital. Reason I touched on this 3 weeks ago, or however long ago on the show, on Phinside, and we posed the question to everyone: are they maximizing these resources that Stephen Ross has made available to us? And I think, to me, why it appears to be somewhat of a the start of a disconnect between Ross, Flores, and Greer is because of that very situation. I think he feels spending. Yeah, exactly. I think he feels. I think he really truly feels that he doesn't believe that they're maximizing the resources that he's given to them. And
that's a sound argument.
And they're coming to him again. They select Tua number 5 overall, and they're coming to him. And because Watson, if they do get Watson, he don't come cheap. So we're talking minimum 3 first-round picks. So Ross is looking at them like, damn, you've had 5 in the last 2 years. What return have you gotten on that approach, making those type of investments? And I'm torn between the situation because I understand both sides. I understand Flores and Greer wanting to get a proven commodity, wanting to get a proven player, but y'all know how I feel about Deshaun Watson, the player. I think he would immediately upgrade this offense. But that plan, that approach is not bulletproof. There are risks involved making that type of investment in that player at this point in time. And then again, I understand Stephen Ross's perspective as well. I'm looking at him sideways. I'm looking at the money, the $135, $140 million that's down the drain that you invested in free agency. I'm looking at you sideways there, and I'm looking at, goes back to last year's draft. And this is going to it's going to ruffle a lot of feathers. But look at the players that were available. I'm just going with the first round. Look at the players that were available and cross-reference those with the ones that you picked. You tell me, I pose the question, are they maximizing? So again, I think that's what has started this disconnect, what appears to be a disconnect. But unfortunately, is it fair? Who knows? I'm not here to make that decision. All that rests on Tua Tagovailoa's shoulders this year. Tua is the only one that can remedy this entire situation by his play on the field.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to it though. I'm gonna go. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Ballgame. I'll go after you, brother.
I'm just saying.
I'll go after you, Mr. Ballgame.
I'm gonna go back to it though, because I'm telling you, man, this is eerily very, very similar to what happened up there in New England in the first 4 when Bill took over after he came over from Cleveland, bro. Like Kraft was all in his cupboards, bro. Every move Bill made was scrutinized until they won. These guys, all these dudes got to do is get into the playoffs, bro, and I think everything will ease up. But until then, can you blame Ross? Can you really blame Ross?
I can't, bro. I can't, bro. Yeah. I can't.
Go ahead, Damien.
Because I totally agree with what Mr. Ballgame says, especially going back to that history with New England when Belichick first came from Cleveland. And in my perspective, I put most blame on Greer than Flo, because I think Flo is the right coach. But questionable moves from Greer. And Flo has made some as well. But this is my thing, because what Ian talked about was if we make the playoffs, it'll be over with. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Those first 2 games. New England defense, if you want to talk about our defense on paper, their front 7 is ferocious. And their team is pretty damn solid, too. And let's just say this, because Kate's horrible right now. Let's just say Mac Jones wins the job. Let's just say that. 425 games. And let's say Mac Jones just plays, manage the football, and the defense hold off because our quarterback ain't there. Imagine the heat of losing to, even though it's not technically losing to him, but losing against the team, against the guy that backed him up. Then we got Buffalo. Then we got a break with the Raiders. Was it really a David Carr is capable, and we know what Waller can do. Then we have the Colts. Now, we have, at that point there, what do we do? Because guess what? We have to perform because our record don't matter because that pick goes to Philly. And people say when they won about San Francisco, Jimmy G's playing for his life. And also, the boy Trey Lance, just on ability alone and not having no tape on him with the arm talent. And also another pivotal game. Down the stretch, if some way we do hang on in there, going in Tennessee against one guy who I've never been sold, but they have a legit offense that would love to put a dagger in the door season. All these pivotal things. And we've got this uncertainty about this one guy. The only reason I can say I have uncertainty because my damn coach and GM got uncertainty about him. And that's the predicament as a Dolphins fan that we in. And this situation is so damn familiar that it's just hard to explain, man.
To be honest,
it's
though,
hard to explain, man.
To be honest, though, they should have some reservation until you get to see him in live action, bro. Like mini camps is one thing. 3 days, you're not gonna really get a whole sample of anything. All you've been able to see up to now is that he's healthy, right? Which is a plus. So that's a check in the box, right? Once we get into camp, and he's proven to you that he knows the playbook because he's actually helping others players get acclimated to the playbook. So that's another check in the box. But once they put the pads on,
that's when it gets real.
That's when it gets real. So then at that point, that's when I think they should actually be in this real old shit. Like, okay, we can do it, we can't do it mindset. But until then, you know what I mean? I get it. You know what I mean? You're just going with the belief that, Watson makes us better, which we all agree he probably would at this point because he's more proven. He's got more time in the seat of being an NFL quarterback. But we got to get there, bro. We got now, 3 and a half, 4 weeks now at this point. They gotta gather out a lot of things and get things going in the right direction positively, bro. Like all this stuff coming up right now, it's too close. If this was happening in the latter part of even after the draft, first part of May.
February.
Pretty good, but we in June. It's
too close.
It's too close.
But I think the smart move, and the reason I talk about this privately as well, at least you want to give the kid a chance in training camp with pads on when the bullets are flying. Excuse me. I'm sorry. This Corona's Corona's acting up a little bit. But that scrimmage with the Falcons is huge in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
I know it's a scrimmage,
but it's against other players.
Exactly. It's live bullets. It's live bullets. Pads will be on, full contact, et cetera, et cetera. And the smart move, in my opinion, in terms of entertaining an alternative to Tua, at least the smart players, you want to see them in training camp with live bullets, with pads on, before you just go ballistic and really, because really, to be honest with you, bringing a veteran quarterback of Deshaun Watson's stature, you know, Brett Favre was traded when he got traded to the Jets. If I'm not mistaken, he was traded like a couple weeks before the season started. So a veteran quarterback, I mean, I get it should be a time frame, but not, you know, but I don't think trading for a veteran player, like I said, of his stature, the timing of it, sure, if you are to entertain a trade, you want to get him in sooner rather than later. But if I'm Brian Flores, if the smart play is to get to and just to see what you have and see how he looks. He's healthy now, new playbook. He seems to be retaining and applying what he's learning better, you know, at a higher level than what he was last year. So at least get him in camp and see what you have. If you're seeing the mental dips, if you're seeing the physical dips, well, then
pull the trigger.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think, but you know, the thing we all can agree though, right? That Houston in this situation, if they decide to trade him and they want to trade him to the Dolphins, they're going to look to recoup nothing less than what they gave up and some, and that's going to be
it ain't going to be cheap. It ain't going to be cheap.
I got.
But again, I agree. Damon,
can I say something?
I'm sorry, homie. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
And I love the Dolphins. Anybody knows me personally knows that I'm all in on Tua Tagovailoa. Purchase the jersey, all that good stuff. Love Tua as a person. I'm a Christian. He's a Christian. Love Tua as a person. But as a Dolphin fan, we're going this deep in, and it's all damn uncertainty about the 5th overall pick. Could it be that it looked good when you got track stars or Webb and one of the best arguably college football minds ever in a program that funnels money in every luxury you can have? And because that's what it's looking like. I'm being honest. That's what it could it be that I'm not saying that Tua's not good. I'm not saying that at all. I watched the kid that won money off the kid in college. And I cheered for this kid, and I've seen signs. I saw the Arizona game. I saw that throw he made the consecutive City game. But could it be that type of quarterback that's accurate but depends more on the mental and ain't getting that cerebral killer mental aspect that you gotta have like a Tom Brady to get away with that, or how a young Wilson was?
You can't say that though. I mean, the guy only played 9 games. He wasn't at full health. I mean, Nick Hicks has confirmed that. And when you're not at full, when you're at 60, 70%, automatically, mentally, you're going to be in a different place than when you're 100% healthy. Like that. That's why I've said this. That's why I've said this. You can't. It's not even fair to. You can't. Let me put it this way. You can't even get a proper evaluation of what Tua Tagovailoa could be in this league, even as much as his floor, let alone his ceiling, if you're just gauging him off of the 9 games he played last year. And that's where my issue creeps in with Flores here a little bit. And I've said this to EM privately. I asked EM, I said, yo, why is Flores taking the outlook of a casual fan here? I said, yo, you cannot even properly evaluate what his floor is going to be, let alone his ceiling, because the kid wasn't 100%. When your body isn't 100%, you're not going to be 100% here. And when you look at the fact that this kid was rehabbing his body just to get back to the field. Think about it this way. If this guy's spending 6 hours a day in the offseason rehabbing after he's drafted, that's how many hours of those 6 hours that could be spent getting to learn the playbook, getting together with your receivers. All that stuff didn't happen because he was focusing on getting his body ready. So, and then he gets thrown into the Wolves den only 351 days after he's removed from that injury. Like, this is where my issue with Flores is coming in. Here's the thing. I'm kind of where EM is. I'm torn because I get why you'd want to make the move for Watson, but in the same sense, I don't think you've given this kid a fair chance to even get an evaluation or grasp what he could truly be at the next level. But on the same sense, that's a scary thought for a coach that might not think he has a ton of time.
Right. I agree.
Because he's like, yeah, okay, I haven't given him a fair evaluation, but what if the evaluation doesn't turn out to be what so many think he can be in terms of great? If it doesn't turn out to be that, I've wasted 2 or 3 years that I won't get back, and his ass might be on the hot seat by the end of those 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense too. I mean,
so I get it, but like at the same token, guys, we don't even know what his floor is, let alone his ceiling. We really don't.
They gotta give him a shot, bro.
He hasn't even played 2 seasons yet. They
gotta give him a shot.
That's my whole thing is saying is.
Yeah, they gotta give him a legitimate shot. Otherwise,
that's what I agree.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm in agreement with. Like we got to give him an opportunity, like as far as investing going into the season, because if not, and all uncertainty is coming out, then what do we do? Because at the end of the day, we still have 17 games that are coming up in 2 months, and 2 are this opponents.
Florida Born donates
it's just really frustrating. I'm sorry, guys.
Florida Born donates $5. He said, we're not going to beat what Philly is going to package to Watson. Mark my words, Watson will be an Eagle. I agree with you. We won't be, especially when that first converts. But the thing is, if Miami is where he wants to be, the no trade clause comes into effect there.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. You know how EM talked about the risks? The mitigated risks of making the move for Watson. You know what one that is too? What if Watson comes here and yes, you're a perennial playoff appearance team, but Tua goes somewhere else, is properly groomed, is properly cultivated, and balls the hell out. And then they're on the hook for that too. They're literally setting themselves up for a situation where there's a lot of ways that you can lose, but there's only a few ways you can win. Because you know what teams are going to say? You know what people are going to say? It's the same thing as what people said about Josh Rosen, except they'll be vindicated. You didn't give him a fair shake.
Yeah. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's definitely
it's really a tough situation.
It is.
It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult.
I'm glad I ain't making the call, bro. That's all.
I just don't like, because it appears to be this division in this organization, and a divided house cannot stand. I'm sorry, and that's even more concerning for me, bro. Even more concerning because Flores prides himself, at least that what he projects to the public about having a united kingdom, and if these reports are accurate, bro, it is division after division after division. It's so much division in this team now. It appears, and bro, you can't win that way. You can't. I don't care how much talent you have, bro. Talent only gets you so far. And I'm telling you, this is not good to be in this close to training camp starting. It's not good.
Yeah, these type of distractions and things of this nature make it that much harder for you to actually get these guys all galvanized towards the win. You know what I'm saying? Because winning is contagious, right? I mean, hell, all of them have lost games at some point in their lives, but to be consistently able to go out and win and perform at a high level and work as one, both sides complementing each other. That's the true essence of what coaches look for and figuring out that balance. And hell, if everybody know that you ain't bought in on your quarterback, bro, that's gonna be real hard to get everybody to buy in.
Ball game, you know this better than anybody. If the coach is not sold on the most important position in all of American sports,
ain't nobody else can go out there and sell out.
How are the players supposed to sell out for that player?
They're not. They're not going to. They're not going to. It's hard. I mean, you can. They can like the guy. They can even love him. But at the end of the day, the coach is the one carrying the first shield. He's Leonidas. You know what I'm saying? He's 300. It's like 300. If Leonidas is not out front, believing in all the guys behind him, willing to actually sacrifice and lay it all on the line just like he is, then it ain't gonna matter, man. And if the coach don't come out and say, okay, I'm 100% with Tua, that's gonna be a problem, bro. Like,
let me ask you boys this. Okay, so I've told you everything that I've heard privately, okay? Yesterday or the day before, Barry Jackson came out with the article that he said an unnamed player insisted to him that the Miami Dolphins players like what they're seeing from Tua's growth and quote-unquote think he'll be really good. If the players are saying that, do you think it's more so the guys that have been working with him during his off-season regimen since the off-season started, whereas Flores has only seen him in minicamp, really? Like if the players are seeing that and the players think that, because remember, that's a far cry from what Armando was reporting at the end of the season where a few players weren't believing him. Now apparently players are buying in on him.
Right.
So what do you think about that? What were your thoughts?
Me personally, it's very encouraging to hear that, because we heard, that's somewhat, well, that's definitely a contradiction of what we heard at the end of the season and, at the end of the season with that Armando article. However, with me personally, it would carry more weight with me if this was like midway through training camp when they've had opportunity to put on pads. So I'm kind of, I'm reserving my expectation and my enthusiasm just a little bit until I see what he looks like, what just the team overall looks like, this offensive line, what they look like until the pads come on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me though.
What do you think?
I just want to win.
I'm 100%. I'm old school with it, bro. I don't really get high or low about anything until I see you in full gear going out there and exerting some energy towards trying to dominate the guy in front of you. So for me, all this other stuff is fine and dandy, but what I do know as a coach is that you gotta lead, and you gotta make and have guys believe in the same things you believe in. And if they reading these reports and they're hearing the same things we're hearing, that's going to plant some unfortunate negative seeds, bro. And you know what I mean? Tua being out there working with these guys and they're doing amazing things and them seeing him, that's all great and dandy. But Flores, if Flores is the one that truly has to buy in and believe in him 100%, it's not going to happen until he's in live action. And then at that point, you know what I mean? Maybe I think the kid will win him over, but he would have lost some of the other guys because you got to gain them guys back. Because what was happening is that guys were on the fence. And now he's moved some of them over to his side as well. You know what I mean? And if the coach is saying that he doesn't necessarily, is not 100% bought in, now they all got to rally together to move the coach, which is even harder because he's supposed to be the leader. He's supposed to be bought in on everybody anyway. He can't really be in these positions where he got personal feelings or feeling some type of way. No, this is your player. This is who Greer provided for you as your player. This is who Ross wanted. This is who the organization wanted. You got to go with the 53 that is given to you. Your job is to coach the group and put the best product on the field. And you start that whole process by giving everyone gets benefit of the doubt until otherwise proven. And right now at this point, that 9-game sample size, man, you can throw that out, bro, because none of that really matters because the kid didn't have an off season. But now he's had a chance. He had a chance, right? There's no way in the world you can convince me that Flores is not watching this kid and seeing the transformation of his body and thinking to himself, shit, I might be wrong. But I still got to stand my ground until I see otherwise. So it's up to Tua also to prove him wrong, right? But in the same sense, if he is the Nazi in terms of control freak, like you saying, it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot, But I believe the kid is capable of moving Flores and any other doubters, bro. He just got to be given the opportunity, and that's my thing. Just don't give up on giving him a chance too soon. You know what I mean? Let it play out.
Like, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say publicly, I don't care about the repercussions that come my way. What I'm hearing privately about the stuff I've told you guys and the stuff that I can't tell you guys, it's souring me on Brian Flores, the person. Do I think he's a good head coach? 110%. But we're talking about the person and his outlook right now. And I'm not a fan of how he's handling this situation. I'm just not. And it kills me that I can't tell everyone that juicy tidbit. But when I heard that, I was like, are you serious with me right now? And honestly, I just... And what's crazy is I'm so invested in the guy. I want to see the guy succeed so much. But then I hear the stuff I'm hearing. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm asking myself, on certain things that I hear, is this guy really this petty? And I shouldn't be having that question about my head coach.
They say Bill was as petty as they come, though, bro. Like,
well, yeah, there you go.
But you can justify Bill Belichick. I mean, the dude has got 6. She's got 6 rings on his finger. Bill can be as petty as he wants to be.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying though is that even if Flores is, I'm telling you, that's learned behavior, bro. If you're around somebody, in these situations, especially when you're talking football, when you're around somebody as much as these guys are around Bill, you know what I mean? They're soaking in every bit of who he is and his personality as a person in that environment. So it doesn't surprise me that this is who Brian Flores could potentially be behind the scenes, bro. Like, and reason I talked about this earlier, we said the exact same thing, ball game. We were like, well, I mean, look he sat under Bill Belichick for 15 years, but we're disappointed about hearing this tonight. But you got to look at it. Let's be fair here, okay? Flores, 15 years. He had a front row seat to what works in this league. Yes,
he's seen that blueprint. So if you're an aspiring coach and you've been on a staff that has won 6 that built a 20-year dynasty off a certain blueprint, why would you want to deviate from that?
That's what I'm with you, bro.
So you can't hate on him. If we're gonna be fair here, you got to see both sides of the coin. I get it might rub you the wrong way on how he's handling Tua or whatever, or any player for that matter. But this is all he knows. And again, it'd be one thing if he sat up under Adam Gase for 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But no, he knows what works.
But my thing, EM, is that worked in that situation. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work over here. And B, as of today, Watson isn't on the Dolphins. Herbert isn't on the Dolphins. There has to be a point where you get over it, bro.
Oh, well let me clarify that. Now, I'm not co-signing him if he's being...
No, I know you're not. I'm
not co-signing that. No, I mean I'm talking about blueprint on how to manage a team, schematics, et cetera, et cetera. Those things don't change. That blueprint, if it was successful in the 60s, it'll be successful today generally. So it hadn't been that long. He sat under 15 years and learned, hey, side by side, Bill Belichick on what wins in this league. But in terms of him, the personal aspect of it, no, I can't co-sign on that. If that report, from what you told me privately, if those reports are accurate, I'm a little surprised to hear him, he would be in his feelings to that point. You know what I'm saying? That to me, he's letting personal get in the way of business. And those two, personal and business, can never exist. Mm-hmm. They can't. You have to separate the two. Coexist. You have to separate the two. So who knows? Hopefully that report, and these reports and what these people are saying is not totally accurate, or if they are, hopefully he checks himself and gets a hold of his feelings. But again, the only one that can remedy this entire situation is Tua Tagovailoa, and that's a lot of pressure put on a second-year player going into a season where individually he has to perform as well as the team has to perform. That's immense pressure to put on a player in his second year. So is it fair? I'm not here to judge that, but that's where we are. And again, Tua, we are pulling for you, bro. If you're still the quarterback here come the first game of September, whenever that is, bro, you got to get it done. It's a production-based business, period. Nothing more, nothing less.
I just think about how this situation is going right now. And, you've got this apparently, I say apparently because I've been told this stuff, apparently going on. That one tidbit that I told you privately that we can't make public, that came from a pretty legitimate source, as you know. I told you who the source was too, even to back you up. I just like, I just sit back and I'm just flabbergasted, bro. I'm just like, we're at a point where you've got this apparently going on. You've got the X thing going on. Like
it's adding up
on multiple fronts right now. And let me ask you this.
That's a disaster.
Jim Caldwell stepped away, and that's created this carousel of offensive coordinators. We talked about the resources that they've used, whether financial or draft capital, that maybe have Stephen Ross looking at him a different way. What about other things like him continuously bringing in Patriot guys? He brought in Chad O'Shea. We all know he probably co-signed him because he brought him over, just like Saleh brought over LaFleur from the 49ers, right? And he, a lot of coaches do that, and that didn't work out. You know what I mean? Brought in Ted Karras. That didn't work out. Brought in Kyle Van Noy. They paid him. That didn't work out, and he's making a little bit of money this year to play for a division rival. And now he's continuing that carousel with guys like Adam Butler, McCourty, et cetera, Like, he's clearly got the pull. There's no denying he's got pull and say in coaching and roster, well, clearly coaching, but also roster decisions here. It's not one of those situations where the GM signs the players and says, okay, now you field them. Do you think with all those things that we just named, he could lose a little pull because none of them are really working out? Like, name a Patriot, maybe a Landon Roberts. What is that, the only Patriot influx that he's brought over that's actually worked out up until this point?
Again, it goes back to those decisions. These are, again, those resources that were made available to him, to this front office, to this coaching staff. And again, it's just not personnel, but the consistent revolving door on the offensive side of the football in terms of coaches. Like you just highlighted, that's not good. That's not a good thing to have, especially when you have a young developmental prospect at that position. And again, it's about decisions with me. And I it might sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but this situation, like you just referenced, these decisions are starting to stack up. Look at your situation with your best player, Xavier Howard. We are in a situation right now where he's wanting, obviously, a pay raise, correct?
Yeah.
I think, and the Dolphins can't pay him unless they start to restructure, take money from this contract, restructure, kick debt down the road. And who wants to be in that? That's not an ideal situation. So it goes back, and a lot of people, I don't understand, I've said this on multiple platforms, Larry, if you're listening, coaches are paid to forecast personnel development They're paid to forecast contractual situations that might arise. And reason and I, we talked about this privately. We talked about this the other day. Look at the money that they gave out. Look at the situation with Tagovailoa and Eric Flowers. They are paying $6 million of Eric Flowers' salary. They had to pay Washington to trade for him to take it off their books. They're paying $6 million of that. Tagovailoa has a dead cap hit of what, $9+ million? We are in a situation with our best player now, our best player on this team that's wanting a pay raise, and we cannot do it. Again, it goes back to decisions. I get you can't. Nobody's Nostradamus here. Nobody's a prophet here that can directly say, well, this is coming. This is going to happen in 2021. But you're paid. Part of your job description is to put yourself in a best position in case any situation arises. That way you're prepared to deal with it. And they have not done that because of the irresponsibility with allocation of cap dollars. They're in a situation now where they cannot renegotiate or give your best player a pay raise this year. They can't do it. They don't have the money. So again, it goes back to decisions that you're making and you're not making, and they are stacking up. And I go back to what we said 3 weeks ago on the show on Phinside, me and Reason. All it's going to take is one season when we do not meet expectations, and all of this is going to bubble to the surface. And we're seeing the preview of this movie play out right now. We're seeing the beginning stages. We're seeing the previews of this movie being played. And I hate to say it, I'm not going to wood now. I hope I'm wrong. But I hope they get it right. I hope Tua I know you're more than likely you're probably missing Mr. Tagovailoa. And I want to say to you, on behalf of the Dolphins community, we're riding with you. If you're our quarterback, if they opt to stick with you, we're riding with you. So at the end of the day, bro, these decisions, of what the decisions that they're making or not making, they're starting to add up. And we saw this coming. So hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully they get this thing together and we have a successful season. But let us not meet expectations this year. And listen to the reports about the disconnect, about the division with the front office. It could get ugly real quick.
And the X situation, Byron Jones, that has Flores' thumbprint all over that signing. The Noah Benogany pick, that's his thumbprint all over that selection.
Mm-hmm.
Flores whether you want by hook or by crook, Flores put us in this position. He brought in Byron Jones and paid him more guaranteed money. Byron Jones, on a positive note, helped Xavier Howard raise his statistical production, and that gave X even more desire to get paid. So the negative was you gave him more guaranteed money. The positive was you made the right call by bringing in Byron Jones, and it just upped X's level of production. I know that's just a basic way of looking at it, but I'm not going to sit here and he's to blame because he made the right choice by bringing in Byron Jones. But he put us in the position, bro. And let me ask you this. I said this before you came on. I heard privately when that whole Watson stuff was going on, 3 first, Wilkins, and X for Watson. Okay? What if the reason they're not moving on Howard is because there are all of what I've told you guys I've been told privately is true. They're waiting out Watson and they see X as a chip in that trade.
But here's the thing, Reason. If Stephen Ross is telling them no, what are they waiting for?
I agree. 110%. That's why
if Stephen Ross is vetoing that trade, what the hell are you waiting for? Why are you twiddling your thumbs? So
you know what they could be waiting?
Something is not adding up right here. Somebody's being misinformed at some point.
Or it could be a simple matter of they're waiting to see how the season rolls. Tua doesn't work out, and then Ross changes his mind.
This is what I think. I think the Dolphins, they are waiting. I think the Watson situation, and I said this before, I never felt that it was dead. Never felt that way because I felt like if you got that close to trading him, you're waiting for the league year to open up and then this storm drops. If you got that close, fast forward to now, what the hell changed? The only thing, the interest level shouldn't have changed because you hadn't seen Watson on the field. The only thing that could sway you in terms of your interest is criminal charges and you see a dip in his play. Well, criminal charges haven't been filed against him, as far as I'm aware of at this point. And 2, we hadn't seen him on the field. So the intrigue should be the same. The level of intrigue should be the same. The only thing difference is he hadn't cleared up his legal issues. So if Ross is telling you, that's why when you told me that about Ross vetoing and saying no to them, that just don't sound right. Why would Ross say now no in a month, 2 months ago, whenever the initial reports were reported about us trading for him, why would he be on board then and not now? That makes no sense to me.
You might have seen Tua's transformation.
And again, this is what I think is what's going to happen. And I could be wrong. I think they are going to wait till training camp and see Tua at 100% physically. I think because that's their biggest concern more than anything. They want to see how he is physically. And if there are no physical lapses, if there are no mental lapses, they want to see what they have. And I think that's a smart play here. I think that's the best. Just consider the situation you're in right now. That's the best play. So I think that's what's going on.
I don't know. It's tough for me to decipher because, one of the people who told me this stuff has a ridiculous track record publicly of being right about things. So when he tells me it privately that the front office, Greer and Flores want Watson, but Stephen Ross doesn't, I don't know, man.
I don't get it. And look at not only Xavier Howard, but we talk about this as soon as they signed Adam Butler. I initially thought this ensured. I thought that they were going to move Agba as a primary edge player. You remember when we talked about when we first signed Adam Butler? We were like, well, yeah, that makes most sense. But no, actually, no. Maybe that's still a possibility in my opinion. I think that's the best course of action. But no, he was brought in to replace Christian Wilkins because he was going to be included in that trade.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But I mean, if they're waiting around, if that report is accurate, and they are just waiting around for his legal issues to clear up, that makes. I mean, look at the moves that they made. Look at like you said, look at how they are. The Xavier Howard situation, and I mean, everything points to the trade. Everything, every move they made in the offseason, everything points to that trade. It just makes the most sense. So I don't know. Why would you make all of these moves and when Stephen Ross is not all on board, is not going to sign off on a trade? That makes no sense to me. So there's got to be some kind of misinformation going on here. And again, I don't go by what front offices, what coaches, what owners say. I go by what they do. And every move the Dolphins has made in free agency, I think, is screaming they are preparing themselves to pull that trade and acquire Deshaun Watson. So it's unpopular. I ain't gonna say unfortunate because that's just the nature of the NFL, but it's what it is. It's where we are, bro. And my biggest question mark is where do they go? Where do they go for? What's the status now? That's what I want to know. What is the status now in terms of what are your true aspirations and plans for Tua Tagovailoa? are you really moving forward with him, or are you just buying time? All of this talk about how he's looking and we're going all in on Tua and all that, is that just window dressing to not deflate his trade value? Because if they get Watson, Tua is not going to be here in South Beach. He's not.
And from what I understand, he won't be in the Texans trade because the Texans don't want him.
Exactly. So are they just pumping him up to not deflate his potential trade value? I don't know that. I want to know now. But this is what bothers me the most, is the conversation so close to the season. Man, I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. Teams having a lot of optimism based off the previous year. Get to the next year, get to the offseason, and then you start hearing conversations about, contractual issues, personnel issues, front office issues, and then you wind up not having the success that you initially thought and you initially expected from that team. And we're seeing it right now, bro, unfold.
What I've been basically told is, because I have one of my people hitting me up right now, clarifying because they're listening. Okay, and what I was basically told was Ross wanted Tua over Herbert. Ross did sign off on the Watson trade before the allegations hit. But now Ross wants them to get off the Watson trade, but Flores doesn't want Tua that bad. He can't. So before the allegations hit, Ross did sign off on the trade. Since the allegations have hit, Ross's stance has changed, and now he wants him to stick with Tua Tagovailoa. I literally just got texted that now.
That definitely clears that picture up a little bit.
Yeah.
Man.
And it goes back to what we talked about earlier. He doesn't want the PR issues, right? Because he went through it over the Trump thing, and he realizes what it could be.
They absolutely killed him over that Trump issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have the text
Always
right here. I literally just got lit up with them. So just they clarified what they were talking about when they said ownership wants to stick with Tua while the front office wants to move on Watson. That was they just clarified for everyone. So basically, Watson has his legal issues. If he didn't, he'd be in Miami, is what I was told.
If Stephen Ross is dug in, I mean, Flores, bro, you're going to have to get over it. Chris Greer, you're going to have to get over it. I mean,
that's what they're telling me, basically. What, and I quote, Ross wants them to get off of it, but Flores doesn't want Tua that bad. He can't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Flores, see, if you're Brian Flores and Chris, I'm talking. And I was
also told, he right before he signed off the trade, Watson equals dollar signs, $5 signs to be exact.
Watson equals dollar signs?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's why he was willing to. But I was told Ross wanted Tua over Herbert.
Wait, what? Oh man, this is. I'm telling you.
But I believe from everything I've also been told from other people besides the person that's messaging me right now. Because I promised this person I wouldn't mention anything in terms of names and stuff. Greer was on board with Tua, from what I understand too.
Well, that's too. Well, in terms of voting, I'm
that's
sure they had a vote.
Guys. That's your two
highest
guys.
Right. 2-1. Flores got outvoted.
Yeah.
in that article that came out about Flores in terms of a power struggle, if it turned out to be a power struggle, to me, that was the only thing that could save Flores, in my opinion. If this turns out, and again, I'm knocking on wood, I don't believe Tua is going to flame out, but if Tua doesn't meet expectations, Flores would always have that to fall back on because he can say, well, I never signed off on him to begin with. That generally saves coaches or gets them fired because that's how they're evaluated on the players you select. What did you get on that return? And so Flores, he's got his get out of jail free card in that regard. So, but the thing is, though, at the end of the day, if that is accurate, and it probably is, that text information you're receiving is accurate, Flores is going to have to think what's better for the team, and he's going to have to get over that. His personal feelings, him being divisive, him being spiteful, that's not best for the team. He's going to have to get over it. It's the situation. You got outvoted. They didn't select the quarterback that you desired. And, call it divine intervention reason with this Watson situation and Tua. Who knows? This could be a big sign. But you got to move on. You got to get over that. You can't mix personal with business. They don't work. It doesn't work in any walk of life. So, man, Flo, you got to get over it, bro.
Well, this is what I literally just got messaged this as well. Because they're listening and they say we're having great dialogue. But they said, from what I get, Flores is too much like Belichick, where he wants his way, and if he doesn't get it, he will try his best to still get it. Remember, it's what Ballgame said. You go back to Belichick and Jimmy G. Kraft had to step in to say, no. You're not starting Jimmy G over Brady. And now, I guess because of the allegations and the press and everything going on with Watson, Ross has changed his stance and said, okay, no, you got to move forward with Tua. Get off of it.
Well,
and you know why Flores is probably still sticking with it, because he already got Ross to sign off on it once.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Okay, do you think if they didn't have so many questionable decisions that they've made since they've had absolute power, do you think Greer would be completely hands off? I think so. I think if some of these personnel decisions that they've made to this point for agency as well as the draft, if they would have got a bigger return on those investments, I think Stephen Ross would still probably say, well, you know what? It's yours. Because again, you're evaluated by what selections you make and what type of return you get on those selections. So I think, and I'm telling you, it's not just Tua, bro. I think the reason why Ross is digging in, apparently, and it could be a lot to do with the legal issues, but Stephen Ross is the type that doesn't strike you as the type that he's going to let the court of public opinion sway him from making a move of this magnitude, especially if you feel like it can help you immediately. I don't think so. I think that's part of it, but I think he's looking at him sideways, bro. He's just like, well, because I'm just calling it, I'm just keeping it 1,000 right now. I'm calling it down the middle. They have made questionable decisions. They have. That's just a fact. And he's looking at all of these other players that were available to you, and they're getting immense returns on them immediately. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a prime example. And you had an opportunity to sit right there and get these and select these players. And not to ruffle anybody's feathers, but Justin Herbert as well. They got immense return on him immediately. And you have to, as a business owner, you have to be looking at your staff and like, man, how is this possible? You have an unprecedented amount of resources. We're never going to see this again. And I'm looking at these other franchises, looking at these players that are selected, free agency included, and you're like, man, come on, what are you doing with my money? What are you doing with my resources? So I can see why Stephen Ross is a little more firm and why he's a little more dug in terms of making – because this is, again, Watson is not coming cheap. This is going to be, in terms of value, another big ticket item, another crazy amount that you have to invest in bringing this player. And again, I agree with the player. I love Watson, but as a player, that whole form, if you bring him in, that plan is not bulletproof. It's still risks involved.
You want to hear what one of these people one of the two people that told me all this just texted me?
What's that?
It's about you.
What's that?
And the person talking is going down the right path as to why La Confora said Flores' seat is hot. A lot of these failed moves are his banging on the table.
Really? Okay. Well, I guess Ian Dolphin fan is not as crazy as a lot of people make me out to be, I guess.
Buddy, we got out ahead of that when we did this show a couple weeks ago about
I told you.
Are they utilizing their resources?
I told you, bro. I said we have been talking about that for
See, here's my issue with Dolphin fans, bro. Listen, I'll go back to this. Jason La Confora has put out articles literally the next day after I've been told things privately the night before, verifying them. Okay? Like, from everything I understand, the Pro Herbert stuff, he was right about. The Eagles trying to trade for Deshaun Watson, he put in an article. I heard that the night before privately. What did he say in that same article about the Eagles stuff? It was before we made the trade with San Fran and everyone. He said we were looking to trade back, but we didn't want to get out of the top 10 because we wanted one of the Alabama boys. Who did we end up drafting, bro? See, here's my thing. These people just don't want to hear it because it's not what they don't like it because it's not what they want to hear.
Exactly.
That's the issue with Dolphin fans. Sometimes, listen, since me and you were on TD's channel, bro, we've been telling people, put the logo before the player.
Absolutely.
That goes even further. Put the logo in front of the coach. Put the logo in front of the GM. Put the logo in front of everyone, unless they're transcendent at what they do.
Absolutely.
And my issue is everyone out here wants to defend some of these players, some of these coaches, like they ain't done nothing wrong. When as I sit back, all we got is a 10-6 season. They won shit. We ain't won shit. The fact of the matter is we ain't won shit. And if we regress this year to 7-10 or 8-9, then what's the excuse going to be? Because, listen, I'm not here advocating that his seat is hot, but what these people need to get through their minds is expectations have arrived. And if expectations are not matched, this is a business of production. There will be consequences. Especially when you got a guy like Greer who's been in the organization for over 15 years. Yes, he's withstood the Tannenbaums and the Gases and the bad choices, but now the spotlight's on him. Greer can no longer hide behind all the other guys. And guess what? Flores was Greer's hire. They're tied to each other. Just like the success of Tua Tagovailoa is tied to them. This is where people got to take their little homer hats off, take their little aqua and orange blinders off, step back, and look at the situation objectively, not subjectively. We did a whole show where we and you talked about this for 2 hours. The resources, financially and draft-wise, we've had over the last 2 off seasons, including this one, are unprecedented. And the only comparisons you can make to those are like what the Cleveland Browns had, and the Cleveland Browns stunk it up. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If Flores isn't going to give these players time, and he's going to pull the rug out from under them when they don't live up to his expectations, Why isn't he being held the same way and to the same accountability? Same goes with Greer because he has to okay those moves.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to do it to players and fans are going to be okay with it, you better be okay with it when they're held to their own standards. That's my problem, man. You know, they can't sit back and look at this objectively. It's got to be subjective. I don't. People need to realize expectations have arrived.
Absolutely.
Do you think 10-7 and missing the playoffs is going to be good enough this year? No, it won't be. Players will get cut again, and something will happen in the front office. That's the problem.
Man, here we are. Oh, this is depressing. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Ball game, Damian. This is making me physically sick. I told you this earlier. This is making me physically sick. That we're this close to training camp and we're having this discussion. It's making me physically sick.
Like I told you, listen. I told y'all when we drafted Jackson, I gave my pre-draft evaluation. He was what I said to all of you he was. I told y'all from the moment we drafted Robert Hunt, he's a guard, not a tackle. It took them a year to realize that and make the shift. All right? Loved Solomon Kinley pre-draft. Thought he was our best rookie, but you got to call a spade. Not the better athlete. When it comes to pulling, it's a problem. Really, the only surety right now, and yes, sorry, people, because we don't know to his floor or his ceiling because we haven't seen him at 100% yet. The only guy you can hang your hat on of last year's draft
is Raekwon Davis.
Who me and you, I called to him before the draft. This is the next Chris Jones. I literally said this guy's Chris Jones like.
Yep.
Okay, go back to the prior draft before that. There's the coaching staff, there's articles about it. About the coaching staff still waiting for Christian Wilkins to take another significant leap.
Yep.
You know, Dieter. They took Dieter, and he's been moved all around, and now they're hoping he can work out at center. Really, the only assurity out of that first draft in the Brian Flores era right now, and we haven't seen him with full-on responsibility, is probably AVG. I'll throw Christian Wilkins in there because he's pretty good, and our run did.
Miles Gaskins too. Miles Gaskins too.
7th round pick.
Yeah.
I just, people don't like, and shout out to Josh. Imagine the behind scenes info that will come out whenever Tua has his next documentary. Yeah, bro, I can only imagine. My problem is people are either too optimistic or too afraid or too much of a homer to start questioning players and coaches and people. When guess what? It's okay to do that.
Yep.
Doesn't make you a bad fan.
Yep.
Doesn't make you a bad person.
Yep.
The only reason you shouldn't be asking questions is if you're going. Chiefs fans shouldn't be. Chiefs fans had questions at the end of last season with the offensive line, bro.
They damn sure did.
And you 2 Super Bowls in a row.
And all these folks, I tell you, it's like you can't be, when you're evaluating, you can't be objective. If they think if what you're saying is not aligned with their narrative, I don't understand why they have to try to.
They attack you.
They have to cut your throat, man. It's ridiculous. I can only, bro, we all know the heat that I received, and I was just offering my personal opinion on, I was giving constructive criticism about Tua last year, and it didn't fit these homers, these casual fans' narratives. And oh my God, the heat that I received, not that it bothered me at all, not one bit, but still, come on, man. It's not like I was ever saying we should give up on it. No, it's just listen, it's healthy to be objective in your evaluation of your team. If you're not, you're the definition of a casual fan.
Dude, do I want
that.
Flores and Greer to be fired? Hell no. I want them to be successful.
No, we
because
want
then
to
we're
work out.
successful. But you got to still step back and say, you know what? Nah, I don't really feel that move. Or
exactly.
Just like we praise them for the good moves they make.
Exactly.
Byron Jones was a fantastic signing. It propped up Xavier Howard to have his best season. Eric Rowe, that's arguably the best Patriot he brought over here, and he's been a great handling tight end.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
See, here's the thing. When you actually break it down, we really have no qualms with the defense because that's Flores' specialty.
Right.
But you look at the coaching staff all the way down to the personnel on the offensive side of the ball, the questions are galore right now. And again, I've been told privately by someone close to players, okay, if you're smart enough, you can probably put that together. I've been told privately by someone close to the players that this playbook is complicated and confusing. Are we going back to the Chad O'Shea era? And that's all because we're at this stage because we can't get the offensive coordinator position down. For the life of us. What's crazy is we're on our, if you include Jim Caldwell, who stepped away, people forget Jim Caldwell was the original hire and stepped away. Caldwell, O'Shea, Gailey, Godsey, and Stootsville. We're on our 4th and 5th offensive coordinators because they're a combo in 3 seasons. Think about that for a second. But people are still going to make it. People are going to make every excuse in the book, bro.
And they have been. And it's unfortunate. You have
Nico,
to.
let me hear your opinion because you're pretty strong about this. Nico says, Phinside the NFL, don't forget the Minka stuff is on Flores too. And I know you feel kind of similar to I do, where you should have just made it work out. You should have made it work.
You should have made that Eric Rowe move. That should have been the move to make. Again, coaches are paid to forecast personnel issues, contractual issues. Again, nobody's saying Flores should have seen. He can predict on what day this is exactly going to happen. No, but you have to put yourself and the team in a situation. Prepare yourself for when things do arise. Personnel on the field and off the field. That's how businesses operate. That's how successful businesses operate. And again, questionable decision because you look at the return that Pittsburgh has gotten on Minka Fitzpatrick since we made the trade and we got Austin Jackson. And again, I love Austin Jackson's upside, but he's still developing a player. Minka's performing at an all-pro level right now. And all you had to do was make the Eric Rowe move. That's all you had to do. Just saying, man. I love you, Flo. If you're listening, bro, I'm riding with you, homie. But I have to be objective. I have to keep it 1,000. That's what Ian Dolphin fan wants to be known for. I don't want to be known for a homer. I definitely want to be known. I'm definitely not a casual fan. I want to be known for a fan that is objective as he possibly can be for this franchise. Personnel, schematics, on the field, off the field, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just saying, man, I hope y'all have gotten it right. I hope this year turns out to be. I hope they meet our expectations as well as their own. But these questionable decisions they've been stacking up, and it's just that 10-6 season last year. All of these issues have just totally from a fan base perspective. It's just glossed over their head. They're just oblivious to them, and it's unhealthy to be that way. I think as a fan, we should all be responsible and want to evaluate our team objectively and hold them to the level of accountability that they say that they hold themselves to. What's wrong with that? I'm just doing what Flores said he does. He says he holds his team as well as himself to the same level of accountability. What is wrong with that? I don't know why people get so offended. I don't understand that. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Because it's what they don't want to hear, bro.
It's ridiculous. So
you're not spoon feeding them what they want to hear. That's the problem. I mean, it is. That's just a flaw of man. That's not even just Dolphin fans, right? Relationships, friendships. When you say something to your wife, your husband, your friend, your best friend, and it's something they don't want to hear, it's usually an uncomfortable conversation. Even if you're right, you'll still listen. Even if you're right and you tell them they don't want to hear something here and it's your wife or your husband, the reason why you're afraid of usually telling them that is because you're going to get an argument, even if you know you're right.
Right.
It's just a flaw of mankind, bro.
I agree.
And what's ironic about all of this is if everything I've been told is to believe that's true, the irony that it all comes down to Tua Tagovailoa. Because Tua, not Flores, not Greer, Tua's the one that can end all this.
Absolutely.
And you'll even get people, I don't believe he has sources. Bro, have people not seen the people I've had on this show?
I know, right? What? Who's saying that?
No, but you'll just get in general. Who's this guy and who is his sources? Like, have you not followed along? Who have been on the show? Who I've told y'all I'm friends with and I talk with privately? Like, give me a break. You know what I mean? Like, you guys saw the list. I got handed the phone numbers of Jalen Waddle, Hunter Long, Liam Eichenberg, and Javon Holland. I got given their personal phone numbers by someone to hit them up and to see if they wanted to come on the show. The problem was the timing. It was a week before they all came down to Miami for the rookie mini camp. So yeah, I know people. And I know people that are legit and that can be trusted. And I wouldn't be telling people if it wasn't coming from people that are legit and trusted. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
people need to realize that too, man. Like, I'm not up here trying to blow smoke out of people's ass. You know what I mean? If it was some jabroni, with a couple thousand followers on Twitter that no one even knew, I wouldn't even be talking about it.
Absolutely.
So
it's where we are, gentlemen. We're here, and man, it's gonna be. I tell you, the suspense is killing me.
Well, I said it to you privately, and I've said it when I was up here. We're gonna have a good gauge on training camp, just from what's told publicly and what will be whispered privately about where they're at with Tua. We won't even have to wait till preseason, bro. We will not even have to wait till preseason. We'll hear things. I'm telling you right now. And I believe Tua's going to be an all-pro, a perennial all-proler in this league. I've told you this before. Been on record, told you this privately. I've said this publicly. I believe, and I'm not the most religious person in the world. I believe there's some kind of destiny at play here. We wouldn't have got him if he didn't get hurt. Yep. From what you were even told stuff by people privately about the Watson stuff. Okay?
Yep.
From all we were led to believe by Watson, and we're talking about like a dozen people here, not even like 2 or 3 people with the Watson stuff, okay?
Right.
Like, and legit people too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yep.
We were told privately that was going down, and what happens? All of a sudden, these allegations hit. It's like there's some higher power at play here, and Tua Tagovailoa was meant to be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. I truly believe he's going to shut everyone up. I believe he's going to kill the whole Watson narrative. And I don't want Watson. You know me. I want Tua. I want to see what we got in this kid. You know where I stand. But you know where I also stand, where if it's a good deal for Deshaun Watson, I understand why they make the deal. I'm not going to cry about it. You know what I mean? Even though, it's more the evaluator part of me for our pre-draft evaluations of Tua wants to see what this kid can be at the next level, right?
Right.
I just think there's some divine intervention at play here, and Tua Tagovailoa is meant to be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, and I think we're gonna win championships with them, bro. I truly believe that, man. 110%.
I have my Tua's ceiling, Tua's upside. That is not wavering with me. I'm lock and step with you, bro. The only issue is he just hasn't done it. And that's why I lean more towards the entertaining of acquiring a player of Deshaun Watson's stature at that age, only 2 years older than him. That's the only reason why. Like me, you never heard me say, banging the table for. Well, I wouldn't even bang the table for Watson. I was just saying, I would make that move. But I never said, you never heard me with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, obviously he's the reigning MVP, right? But he's also 37, 38 years old.
And you know how I feel.
You know what I mean?
Aaron Rodgers is my favorite non-Dolphin, and
right.
I would take Watson over him because of the youth.
Exactly. So, I see it both ways. My opinion of Tua the player, bro, I believe in this kid's upside. But the only thing is he just hasn't done it yet. And Watson has. And in this league, you want to put yourself in a situation where you're eliminating projection. That's another part of your job description as a coach. You want to eliminate as much projection as you possibly can. And when you're comparing these two players at this point in time, Watson is just clearly the better player. He eliminates as much projection. There's really no projection with him because he's at that level now. And so that's the only reason why I would be more inclined. I love you, Tua. You know that. But at the end of the day, it's business. It's never personal. Not what Ian Dolphin fan is not. It is.
That's why I told you I'm not going to cry tears if we acquire.
Right. Exactly. So,
I will be mad if we overpay because I would be like, you're moving off a number 5 pick who I think has an extremely high upside in Tua, plus you're overpaying for the guy. Then I'd have a problem. Their leverage should be, we got a guy we believe in right now and we think can take us there. Yes, we could upgrade him because of what you're saying. Deshaun's proven in the NFL.
Right.
But we don't have to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Make us want to. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be my stance. But, I truly think Tua can lead us to championships. And I believe, I have told you this, man. People can call me crazy, call me silly. I believe there's divine intervention at play. Like,
what? Though?
I don't know, bro.
I'm telling you, I'm like, and you know me, how with my faith, I know for a fact, not to start preaching, but I know Jesus Christ is real. So, and I know Tua, I don't know him personally, but from what the interviews I've heard over the, since he's been here in previous interviews, is that we share similar in terms of our faith through our Lord and Savior. But with that being said, I'm aware of his ability to work in mysterious ways. So, the things that I've shared with you personally. So I'm not saying I'm doubtful, but I'm telling you this right now, bro. I'm telling you, if Tua comes out and if he comes out and proves to be the player we all envision him to be, bro, I'm going to have to lean more I'm going to have to be 100% agree with you on that one, bro. It was divine intervention the whole way. The injury, he would have, if he didn't get hurt, he possibly would have went number 1 overall. We wouldn't have gotten him. And then now you're talking about this Deshaun Watson situation. And that was like at they were just waiting for allegedly. They were waiting for the league year to open to make that trade official. And it was like to the last hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's what it is. We'll see how this unfolds. But I want to say this again to Mr. Tagovailoa. I have a feeling Tua is listening tonight. I don't know why. I could be wrong, bro. But I think he's plugged in tonight and he's listening. We are riding with you, my friend. Tua, you're the only one that can make this. We all want this story. We all want this division. We all want this controversy eliminated. You know what I mean? I understand, everything that this whole cloud of uncertainty, this whole cloud of confusion entails. But at the end of the day, bro, and I'm sure I'm sure you're aware of this. I already know. But I just want to assure you, bro, we're riding with you. We're here to support you for the most part. If you are our quarterback, we believe in you, bro. Just get it done, bro. Shut them all up. Shut Flores up. Shut Greer up. Shut all of these haters up. Bro, I heard the great Dan Mr. Marino the other day say this kid has all the ability in the world. We believe that. You just got it, bro. You're the only one that can make all this go away, bro. So I'm here to tell you, and I know you've heard this before. I know you're aware of this. I'm not here to tell you how to do, what you're supposed to do. I know you're aware of all of this. But we riding with you, bro. We believe in you. Just go get it done and shut up. Make this story officially go away.
I don't know if he watches, but I know he's aware because I know for a fact he okayed Nick Hicks coming on the show.
I don't know, man. I have a feeling Tua is plugged in. I don't know why, bro. I got a feeling he's plugged in tonight.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I could be wrong, but I just had this feeling, bro.
You got to have some controversy, man, in order to actually have things round into some level of perspective for you. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a perfect scenario, man. But adversity is going to do two things. One, it's going to either separate these guys or put them together. And I believe that it's going to be the latter of the two in terms of them. They're going to pull it together, man. They're going to rally behind him, and they're going to force goodwill upon everything that they do positively, man. And coaching staff and everybody going to have no choice but to get behind this kid. I think he is he's exactly what we've needed and wanted for so long. But I think the problem that a lot of Dolphins fans have, bro, is that we've wanted it for so long that we want it like right now. And, to rush the process and to insist that it be perfect right now is going to, I think, would to some degree make things not be as great as they could be. So, I always caution in the beginning, right? It says stay the course, man. This is a process where if they rush it and if they rush him man too soon, it could ruin him. But I believe he has everything and more to be one of the best we've ever seen. And a part of what we gotta exercise as an organization and as a fan base is just patience. We've never really had it, bro. We've been so anxious and so hungry for something more, something different. He is different. He's different than any other quarterback we've ever had. You know what I'm saying? He's different in terms of the way he goes about, all aspects of his life. You feel me? So he's not a guy running to go be in front of the camera. He's very humble. You know what I'm saying? He's got his religious background. He's got his, he's tuned in to everything, bro. So he's completely different. And sometimes when things are that's so different than what you've actually been accustomed to, it scares people. And I think that's what people have more than anything. It's scared energy about the unknown. But change is good. I always believe that, man. Even in football, change is good, especially if it's positively motivated with good energy that can be that is, that is cultivated from a positive place. And there's nothing but positivity around this kid, man. It's damn near impossible to hate him. And even though people do, you have to ask yourself sometimes, is it more them than him? Because he hasn't done anything to anyone. And everywhere he's been, you don't hear anyone talking negative about what he did while he was there and what he did for them while he was there. And even after he left, they still praise him. So it's just time. Like, he didn't show up at Alabama and immediately take over, but they saw something in him there that gave them enough confidence to put him on the field when Jalen Hurts was struggling, and they won a championship behind that. And then he never lost the job again. You know what I mean? And that's huge, especially in a place like Alabama. That doesn't happen for kids that often. Hell, Justin Fields had to leave one school, and Joe Burrow left another school too to go get another shot because the adversity was too thick. But Tua stayed where he was, beat out the incumbent guy that was there, flourished, and had a mishap coming into his final season there in Alabama that everybody got off of him. But injuries happen in football. But I think this kid is probably the most mentally and physically tough kid quarterback that I've seen in God knows how long, bro. And if that didn't shake him, then people have to be excited about the fact that this kid is built different, bro. Like nothing else for me at this point. I'm riding with him because he ain't got to ever say nothing to nobody. I'll say it to him for him.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Irving donates $2. He said adversity builds champion. Ask Brady. Ask Jordan. I mean, you made a good point there, ball game. You go back to even him at Alabama. Look at what he put up with, the ankle injuries. He's literally bounced back from everything. Who would have thought 351 days removed from that traumatic of an injury, the guy's going out and winning his first NFL start, and he took us on a winning streak to start. You know what I mean? He goes out and he beats Kyler Murray because it was the Kyler Murray versus Tua Tagovailoa show, and he bested Kyler Murray, who already had a year under his belt, and let's be honest, had a much more, we didn't have a DeAndre Hopkins on our team, all right? And, you go look at him, and he's out there, I don't think they still found, Buda Baker's ankles since that game. They're probably still on a milk carton missing right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's always bounced back, and I just, that's why I truly believe this kid that's why I'm so invested in this kid, man. That's why I think he's going to be a perennial all-pro player, man. That's why I want him to stay here, because if he's a perennial all-pro, he's a perennial all-pro. Yeah, if he does that for us, we're going to be winning, bro.
Right. Plus, Kyler Murray still owes a good game, bro. He never shook his hand, man.
Yeah, bro, that's how bitter he was.
Yeah, you got to come back and you got to make that right, Kyler.
I always talk about this game. The New England game. Belichick did what he did to Herbert. He took away the passing game. He took away the lanes. He figured him out. This is how I beat him as a passer. The thing is, Tua adapted on the fly and said, okay, you're going to take that away from me? I can still beat you. And he's not as athletic as Herbert is. And he still found a way to beat him.
Even at 60%.
Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I posed this question before after the game, and I'll pose it again. And this is why I don't get Brian Flores' stance. He still talks to Belichick. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that's probably a given, right?
Yeah.
Guys, who do you think Belichick was talking up when he talked to Flores? Justin Herbert or Tua Tagovailoa?
I'm talking about the kid that I did the exact same thing to, and one couldn't figure me out, but the other one did.
Yeah, now they're obviously probably saying, like, Herbert had an amazing season passing the ball. No one will deny that. The guy crushed records. Yeah. But with just a defensive mind, your defensive-minded guy, ball game, EM, your favorite part of the football is the defensive side of the football, basically.
I'm talking about the kid that beat me.
That's Belichick, too. He's in the same mindset as you guys are. The defensive side of the ball is where he likes football being played. And he's probably saying, I don't know how that kid beat me.
Right.
I'm just saying, I truly believe.
Tua's his Rubik's Cube right now, bro.
Yeah, man. I believe the sky's the limit for this kid, bro. And
he's got to try to figure him out.
I was hoping the Watson stuff would be dead after the draft. But, I mean, here we are, right? So,
yeah.
All right, we're hitting the 2.5 hour mark. Let's go. Let's get some final thoughts. Ball game, we'll start with you, man.
I would say it all along, man. From the very beginning, bro. This is a process that none of us are used to. This is the first time I can recall in my entire time of following and being a fan of this team that we've done a rebuild. So I understand that there's going to be some tough spots that we have to navigate through. I just would think that at this point now, being them having, they have to understand that being all one together is a whole lot stronger than being individuals. And that applies on so many different fronts, man. Like those conversations and weekly meetings with this kid that that was reported that Flores was having, man, at some point, bro, you have to see that if you're going to succeed, and you have a wish list all you want, but you don't always get everything you want on your wish list. What you have in your hand is an opportunity to go out, galvanize yourself with this group and with this kid, and prove everyone and all the other 31 teams and anybody else that had anything negative to say about why y'all took him or why we took him, prove them wrong. That's the biggest motivator across the planet, I think, at this point right now. Go out, galvanize yourselves together, man, and play for each other at this point, because you know that everybody's looking for you to fail. Everybody outside the Dolphins organization, and even people that really don't understand how crucial it is for them to have this continuity, a different level of continuity. It's looking for to be able to say, "I told you so. I told you so." If that ain't motivation enough for y'all to get on the same page and push past all of this, clean the state and just say, you know what, we all in together, we ride together. You know what I mean? Then I don't know what else, man. And it bothers me a bit because I felt like Flores should have been a little bit more able to navigate through his personal feelings and understand professionally that you don't get everything you want. Even in the draft, you don't get everything you want. And if this kid is not the kid that you really wanted, that's okay. We understand that. Forget about the business, right? Your job is to coach who is on the team. And coaching this kid is probably not going to be something that you're going to have to do a whole lot of, because Tua is a fast learner, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And he's going to go out there and give you everything he's got, and probably a little more than you expect. So what else could you ask for? He's not going to lose you many games, right? He's not going to be the reason you lose a lot of games, because he's just not willy-nilly crazy across the board with the ball. So that's kind of what most defense-minded coaches love, is the fact that my offense ain't going to be the reason that my defense has to stay on the field. I just want them to just, conduct the business. I mean, I know you got to keep the ties on the Watson thing, but at this point, man, about a month, 4 weeks left before we start, bro. This is
ride with him.
Yeah, ride with him until he proves otherwise that he's not the guy. Believe that he is, and you get behind it, and you put everything you have into it to help make him help keep him and give him all the chances to be successful. You already spent the money, so now give him your loyalty. That's what it comes down to. He gonna go out there and give it to you. You got to give it to him too. Yeah. The worst thing for a quarterback, they ever have to do is go out there and put on the helmet and know that the coach is not 100% in his corner, bro.
Yeah. So, Damian, you've been quiet, but your final thoughts, buddy.
First of all, great show, Reason. Great analysis, ball game, and EM, and everybody in the chat. At the end of the day, Flo needs to put, his ego to the side. Greer as well. And Ross, I get he's the owner, but he needs to stay, in the owner's position, let the football minds handle it. And George, prove them wrong. At the end of the day, prove them wrong. You have the mental ability. You have the talent. Just prove them wrong, brother. All you got to do is prove them wrong. I just want to win, and I just hope that we can get this together, because us Dolphin fans deserve it. We really do. Fins up.
EM, your final thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, man. Salute to everybody on the panel, bro. This was a very engaging conversation, very informative, a lot of insight from Damian, yourself, Reason, as well as Ball Game. Shout out to everybody in the comments that consistently showing up to support this platform, because we all know what type of content the homie brings and he presents to everybody. But at the end of the day, bro, it's concerning. It's somewhat disappointing for me to hear the conversations that are, that are happening so close to training camp. At this point in time of year, you want to be gearing up, getting yourself ready for training camp. You want to be eliminating conversations of this nature, because we all know what type of negative impact that it can have on your season. And again, it's disappointing to hear, but at the end of the day, everything is about Tua. Everything is about Tua, and they've given you support. They've given you personnel that's going to help you be successful. They have implemented a scheme that fits your skill set the best, that's going to put you in the best position to be successful. So they've brought support to you, Mr. Tagovailoa. And I don't know why I keep having the feeling he's listening. But Mr. Tagovailoa, it's all on you, my friend. And you know, we riding with you again, bro. And at the end of the day, bro, it's up to you. You're the only one that can make this a non-issue. You're the only one that can make this conversation disappear. And we all believe in you. You know, we all believe in your ability. We all believe in your ceiling. We all believe in your upside. You just have to get it done, and we believe that you will. And just just internalize this. You know, all of this noise, all of this, you know, controversy. Just compartmentalize it. Use it as fuel. You know, put your head down, get to work, come training camp, and you know, shut all these haters up. Stick it to, you know, if there's an issue with Flores, you know, stick it to him, stick it to Greer, stick it to everybody that don't believe in your long-term projection. So at the end of the day, baby, we ride with you, homie. We're riding with you. And y'all know what time it is all day, every day, baby. Hands up.
All right, guys. So I'll be back Monday night. And I just want you to remember that, you know, this is into his hands. At the end of the day, winning changes perceptions and cures all. And I'm telling you, I believe that he's going to have a great season and all this stuff is going to be put behind us. But it's my duty with this channel and with what I do with the podcast with Ball Game and Richmond Webb. And I got a new podcast that'll be starting in August to give you guys the information I'm allowed to give you to keep you guys as informed as possible. That's part of my duties here. So I do it with the evaluations, with the all 22, with the breakdowns, with, you know, the articles, and I do it when I'm told stuff privately that I'm allowed to convey to you guys. So I want everyone to know that's why we do what we do. But other than that, I hope everyone stays happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. I hope you all have a great weekend. I will see you Monday night. And until then, you already know what time it is. It's Fins up all day, every day, baby.
Y'all be safe out there.
Yeah.